Chapter 47-23. Good. Xiaohua stood up and nodded. With such a disciple in our fortune gate, why should we worry about not being able to exterminate the mayfly race? Of course, Master. Lu Yi suggested, these disciples are different from us. We should be fighting for the three mainlands, but they are fighting for the fortune gate. Disciple feels that we should give them an extra reward. Ha! Xiaohua laughed heartily. With a wave of his hand, he took out a bunch of holy lotus seed embers from Shanhua continent. Then, a fist-sized green seal text appeared between his eyebrows. Boom! The green seal text fell into the embers, and the sound of gods and ghosts crying could be heard. The embers turned into countless tiny pieces. Xiaohua raised his hand and made a grabbing motion, and the tiny particles turned into tiny crystal grains. Lu Yi. Xiaohua waved his hand and the crystal grains landed in front of Lu Yi. This is called the Fortune Immortal Crystal, and it is a reward for fighting the mayfly race. Whether it is the Fortune Gate's disciples from the Shanhua continent or the three mainlands, as long as they have great battle merits, they will be given one. The effects of this immortal crystal are profound, and you have to comprehend it yourself. Master will only say two things. First, if you can survive the battle and comprehend the Fortune Immortal Crystal, reaching the 9th grade of Origin Force is not a dream. Second, even if you die in the battle, Master has a 40% chance of helping you reincarnate and enter the Grand Ascension stage in your next life. See. Not to mention the other disciples, even Lu Yi sucked in a breath of cold air when he heard this. After all, the Fortune Immortal Crystal was a guarantee for a Grand Ascension stage cultivator. Wasn't the fortune of a cultivator in the Fortune Immortal Crystal? Seeing the shock on everyone's face, Xiaohua immediately knew that he had bragged too much. After all, he was just a human Grand Ascension stage cultivator. He smiled and said, "This is what the Fortune Gate's fourth master said, so he must be confident." Hearing the words of Nanwu Methreya Buddha, Lu Yi and the other disciples who knew the truth were awakened from a dream. Ecstasy appeared on their faces as they bowed and said, "Disciple thanks the fourth master for his generosity." Gong Shu Isin and the others were naturally kept in the dark, but when they heard that the Fortune Gate had such a powerful sect master, they were overjoyed and started thinking about how they could earn the Fortune Immortal Crystals. Swoosh! Xiaohua raised his hand again, and a crystal thread fell between Lu Yi's eyebrows. He said, "The method of activating the Creation Immortal Crystal is quite troublesome. You should comprehend it first. If you haven't comprehended it yet, ask Martial Uncle Deva to help you. Yes, as long as the sect master is here, they can do it." "Yes, master." Lu Yi did not dare to be negligent and hurriedly replied, "Disciple will comprehend it now and announce it to the public." "All right." Xiaohua nodded and instructed, "Send out an invitation on behalf of Master. Invite the Grand Mist Ancestor to make a trip to the Yushi Reef Plains." "Yes." Lu Yi accepted the order and led the other disciples out of the Fortune Dao Palace, each of them busy with their own tasks. The Celestial asked curiously, "Why is fellow Taoist looking for that bastard Hongmeng?" "Hee." Xiaohua chuckled. "I will be the touchstone to see if the Grand Mist Ancestor is a piece of gold." Immediately, Xiaohua explained the reason for this matter to the Celestial in his heart. "Damn it!" The Celestial did not wait for Xiaohua to finish and immediately shouted, "This bastard must have a bad idea and is preparing to ambush fellow Taoists somewhere. Don't be fooled." "I also thought so before," Xiaohua explained with a smile. "But, for the three continents, I have to try. What if there is really something? Although we may not be able to bring the spiritual herbs from the Dawn Rain continent to the three continents, it is still a way to survive." "How is that possible?" The Celestial shook his head. "If there is, why didn't he tell Immortal Emperor Gaochen? Why didn't he tell Vairocana? Why did he only tell fellow Taoist?" Immortal Emperor Gaochen, the golden-winged Great Peng, and Vairocana all suppressed the Grand Mist Ancestor in the past. Xiaohua explained patiently, "The Grand Mist Ancestor will definitely not trust them. Moreover, I am also a Taoist cultivator. If he has secrets, he will definitely tell I and go with I to investigate." Speaking of this, Xiaohua laughed again. "Moreover, even if the Grand Mist Ancestor has reached the peak of 9th grade essence force, why would I be afraid of him? Moreover, even if I can't do it alone, don't we still have the Kunlun mirror?" Speaking of this, Xiaohua's heart moved as if he had a trace of understanding. Sure enough, the Celestial also laughed. "How is it?" Fellow Taoist has thought of something, right? Is it the seven-colored sea god's seven-colored halo shell world? Perhaps the Grand Mist Ancestor has this idea. He must know the location of a certain void where fellow Taoist's Kunlun mirror cannot be used. Fellow Taoist is alone and has fallen into his evil clutches. Xiaohua smiled. He was abnormally calm, and there was even a trace of mockery at the corner of his mouth. He replied, not to mention that the Kunlun mirror can't be used, even if this poor Taoist space is imprisoned, this Xiao can't possibly be alone. Do you think this Xiao is afraid of him? Either way, this Xiaohua feels that the Grand Mist Ancestor is a kind person who did not come with good intentions. Fellow Taoist should take advantage of the time to consider carefully and prepare for the worst. The Celestial suggested. Xiaohua nodded and said, I really think so. First, prepare for a rainy day, and make all the necessary preparations to deal with the Grand Mist Ancestor scheme. Speaking of this, Xiaohua's heart suddenly moved, and he asked with a smile, Fellow Taoist, you seem to have gained a lot of intelligence recently? That's right. The Celestial was also grinning from ear to ear. This Xiaohua has been refining the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper recently and has made some progress. The day this 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper is the day this Xiaohua becomes an adult. Congratulations. Congratulations. Xiaohua congratulated with a smile. However, the Celestial suddenly changed the topic and smiled bitterly. This Xiaohua recently discovered that although this 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper has been completed, this whole body is merely the core of the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper, and it is not the complete 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. Its outer shell. I wonder where it is. Ah? Xiaohua was shocked. This 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper is merely the core? That's right. The Celestial shrugged and said, this is an incomplete 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper. Even if this Xiaohua successfully refines it, I estimate that this Xiaohua can only display 40% of its power. Only by finding the outer shell and refining it together with this core will I be able to display 100% of its power. All right. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, we'll talk about this later. Who knows where the outer shell of the 10,000 extinguishing heavenly dipper is? Right now, let's deal with the world-exterminating ephemera first. Subsequently, Xiaohua sat cross-legged on the throne of fortune and pondered over the details of this trip to deal with the Grand Mist Ancestor's secret scheme. At this time, high in the sky of the hidden immortal mainland, within the earth, fire, wind, and lightning that covered even the blue dome of heaven, layers upon layers of awe-inspiring chi pillars rushed out from the void and tore the earth, fire, wind, and lightning apart. One after another, huge subbodies with tens of thousands of armor inscriptions cruising around their bodies stood within the astral winds like gods. An intense awe-inspiring aura drifted out from the subbodies and intertwined with each other within the astral winds. Like a mountain of books and a sea of books, a strange phenomenon flashed within the shattered earth, fire, wind, and lightning. As the strange phenomenon flickered, strands of clouds surged out and condensed into the shape of dragons and phoenixes in the void. A group of Confucian cultivators' luck was like a belt, enveloping several thousand li of space within this auspicious phenomenon. At the center of this group of Confucian cultivators' luck, Immortal Emperor Go Chen was wearing an emperor's robe and holding the supreme heavenly mirror in his hand. He was looking at those sub-bodies with heaven-like auras, and his eyes were filled with satisfaction. My beloved subjects. Immortal Emperor Go Chen opened his mouth and countless lightning dragons fell into the earth, fire, wind, and lightning. Are you all ready? In front of Immortal Emperor Go Chen was the master of the Tai Ching Palace. He looked around, and the golden light in his eyes swept through the astral winds like the sun. On both sides of the master of the Tai Ching Palace were the master of the Supreme Purity Palace and the people of the Jade Purity Palace. On both sides of the masters of the Two Purity Palace were the master of the Literature Palace, Dongfeng Qianghao, Shimen Zhenzhong, Nangong Tianji, and Baiming Chou Qing. However, when the clear gaze of the master of the Supreme Purity Palace landed on the edge of the crowd, there was a slightly short but wise and far-sighted Wen Xing with a bulging forehead. His eyes revealed a trace of confusion as he opened his mouth and said, Your Majesty, your subjects and the others have already prepared everything. However, Your Majesty, have you made your decision? Actually, you are the most suitable person to set up the array, and not us. Sigh. Immortal Emperor Go Chen sighed. The supreme heavenly mirror in his hand emitted a bright light that soared into the sky, covering the scattered earth, fire, wind, and lightning. He said, "Do you think I don't know? I bear the fate of the Confucian cultivators, and I am the most suitable person to set up the 9 provinces' great array. Moreover, if I control the U province cauldron, I can increase the chance of setting up the array from 30% to 40%. Indeed. The short Wen Xing, whose body was extremely large, said calmly, "Although this humble subject has inherited the teachings of Confucius and Mencius and has received the blessings of my ancestors, I am different from your majesty, who has been bestowed with providence by the heavens. Your majesty is the most suitable person to lead the formation." "Minister Kong, do you think I don't want to replace you?" Immortal Emperor Go Chen said with a smile. "Unfortunately, this 9 provinces great array is the immortal defense array of the heavenly court, and it is not something the Confucian cultivators of the 3 continents can set up. Our strength is limited, and only by working together can Xianxia set up the 9 provinces great array. Therefore, the setting up of the array this time tests the unity of the mind. Naturally, we can't have the same mind, so we can only rely on information. On the hidden immortal continent, is there any imperial artifact that can check every detail better than the Supreme Heavenly Mirror? Therefore, to be able to control the Supreme Heavenly Mirror and let my beloved ministers activate the 9 provinces cauldron at the same time is the responsibility that I should bear the most." Kong Qing, the Tai Qing Palace Master, said with a smile, "I don't have any intention of looking down on you. I just feel that setting up the array here is related to the peace of the billions of living beings on the hidden immortal continent. This is no small matter, and it must be done properly." Tai Qing Palace Master, you think too much. Kong Qing was the current clan master of the Kong clan. Now that he was invited by Immortal Emperor Go Chen to set up the array, how could he not know the importance? He said with a smile, "The hidden immortal continent is your majesty's hidden immortal continent, and it is also the hidden immortal continent of us Confucian cultivators. I also have the billions of living beings on the hidden immortal continent in my heart. Any dispute at this time is for the fate of the Confucian cultivators, for the setting up of the 9 provinces great array, so how could I care about it? If you are ready, my beloved ministers, go to the various places of the 9 provinces." Immortal Emperor Go Chen looked at the 9 ninth grade elemental energy literary stars and ordered, "Wait until you find the location of the 9 provinces great array's core, then stop immediately. I will use the Supreme Heavenly Mirror here to search the earth. When all my beloved ministers are in position, I will use the Supreme Heavenly Mirror to give orders. Once all my beloved ministers see the Supreme Heavenly Mirror's order, immediately activate your divine abilities and nail the 9 provinces great array's core in your hands." Immortal Emperor Go Chen was afraid that everyone was not prepared enough, so he carefully explained the method of setting up the 9 provinces great array again. Soon after, all the literary stars activated their divine abilities and went to various places on the hidden immortal continent. Sigh! Immortal Emperor Go Chen flew down from the earth, fire, wind, and lightning. He looked at the vast earth covered by clouds and sighed, "The heavens are protecting the hidden immortal." Xiaohua did not know whether the heavens were protecting the hidden immortal or not, but he knew that the heavens would not protect the Grand Mist Ancestor anymore. Xiaohua asked Lu Yi to send a message to the Sky-Bearing Palace. Sure enough, in less than 10 days, the Grand Mist Ancestor replied and invited Xiaohua to the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm alone. Hee. Xiaohua looked at the alone person in his jade eyes and sneered. He muttered to himself, "Isn't this trying to hide something only makes it more conspicuous? Since we are going to explore the space passage to the 10,000 Demons Realm, the more people the better. How can only 2 Dao Gate Grand Ascension stage experts go? It seems like this trip is dangerous." While thinking, Xiaohua stood up and ordered a few disciples to lead the way to the West Sea Dragon Palace. Xiaohua once again arrived at the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm through the passage between the West Sea Dragon Palace and the North Sea Dragon Palace. The Grand Mist Ancestor seemed to know that Xiaohua would get lost easily, so the place he pointed out was not very far from the North Sea. Xiaohua released his divine sense and found it easily. Xiaohua saw that this was a towering mountain peak, and there were no demons nearby. Moreover, the terrain didn't seem to be dangerous, nor was it a barren place. Xiaohua's figure landed on the mountain peak, sat down cross-legged, and began to meditate with his eyes focused on his nose. After another 10 days, a divine sense swept over from the depths of the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm. When it saw Xiaohua waiting alone, it retracted its divine sense. A moment later, the Grand Mist Ancestor's voice sounded, Taoist Xiao, you are a man of your words. I'm sorry for being late. When Xiao Hua heard the Grand Mist Ancestor refer to himself as I, he couldn't help but look down on him. He opened his eyes and saw a black and white streak of light in the distance. He said indifferently, I'm just a country bumpkin. I have all the time in the world. How would I dare to make you wait? I've been waiting here for a long time. Hee. The Grand Mist Ancestor naturally heard the sarcasm in Xiao Hua's words. He descended and cupped his hands. Taoist Xiao is the leader of the Tao Gate and a hero in my heart. How could you be a country bumpkin? If Taoist Xiao is a country bumpkin, then I can only be a porter. Hee. Xiao Hua waved his hand and went straight to the point. There's no need to talk about those things. Taoist Grand Mist Ancestor, is what you said in your jade eyes true? Seeing that Xiao Hua did not trust him, the Grand Mist Ancestor smiled bitterly. Taoist Xiao, of course what I said is true. I know that I have some shortcomings. I place too much importance on material gains. However, everything I do is the same as what Taoist Xiao is doing. We both want to revive the Tao Gate and let the disciples of the Tao Gate cultivate with their backs straight. Taoist Xiao might not like what I do, but what about Taoist Xiao's actions? Not only do I not like it, but the other Taoist Xiao's actions also don't like it. However, this does not affect Taoist Xiao's position in the Tao Gate. It also does not affect me from becoming the sect master of the sky-bearing palace. Xiao Hua only listened quietly and did not open his mouth. The Grand Mist Ancestor continued, now that the strange insect has appeared, the 3 continents have reached a critical moment of life and death. At this time, just like what Taoist Xiao said at the Jade Pool, whether it is the Confucian cultivators, the Tao Gate, the Buddhist sect, the demon race or the dragon race, we should all unite and resist the strange insect together. We should eliminate the omen of the apocalypse. Taoist Xiao is right. This is my idea. Xiao Hua nodded. Therefore, before the matter of right and wrong, how can I lie to Taoist Xiao? How can I ignore the safety of the billions of lives in the 3 continents? The Grand Mist Ancestor smiled. This space passage to the 10,000 demon realm was obtained from a mysterious cave before I was suppressed. However, before I could explore it, I was suppressed by the Buddhist sect, the Confucian cultivators, and the demon race. After I escaped, I forgot about this matter. After the Jade Pool meeting, I heard Taoist Xiao talk about the method to kill the strange insect. Only then did I remember that I had such a secret information. I immediately found this jade eye and sent a message to Taoist Xiao. At the same time, I traveled night and day to investigate that place to see if it is true. How is it? Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat and he hurriedly asked with concern. Why don't Taoist Xiao guess? The Grand Mist Ancestor pretended to be relaxed as he replied. Xiao Hua rubbed his chin and said thoughtfully, since Taoist Xiao's jade eye is real, and it also records the location of the metal and wood essences, the space passage has naturally been found. Good. The Grand Mist Ancestor clapped his hands and said, Taoist Xiao really has the ability to predict the future. I am truly impressed. You're too kind. Xiao Hua smiled and said, how can this Xiao have such a great ability? This Xiao only said this because I saw Taoist Xiao's happy face and did not look regretful at all. Hee, then I won't hide it from Taoist Xiao. The Grand Mist Ancestor chuckled and said, this Xiao has indeed found traces of the space passage. However, this space passage is quite hidden, and you and I can't really find it. Therefore, this Xiao had no choice but to invite another demonic beast to help. Oh, which demonic beast? Xiao Hua was stunned and asked curiously, is there anything in this world that you and I can't find? This demonic beast is the Great Sage Temple's black-armored Pentaceratops. The Grand Mist Ancestor did not hide anything and immediately answered. Xiao Hua raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, so it's Long Xianxia. However, this Xiao doesn't understand. What kind of talent does he have to be able to surpass our divine ability? Taoist Xiao, don't be anxious. The Grand Mist Ancestor waved his hand and said, this Xiao hasn't finished speaking. Taoist Xiao, please speak. Xiao Hua nodded. Long Shang agreed readily, but when he heard that this Xiao and I were part of the human race, he went back on his word. After this Xiao persuaded him, he requested to invite another demonic beast. Only then did he agree to join forces with Xiao and me. Chapter 47-24. Who? Xiaohua seemed to have thought of something and asked. Of course, it's the nether demonic dragon spider from the Great Sage Hall. Grand Mist Ancestor replied with a smile. 2 great sages from the demon race and 2 Taoist Grand Ascension stage cultivators from the human race. Only then can they trust each other. Haha, I understand now. Xiaohua smiled at Grand Mist Ancestor and said, Fellow Taoist Grand Mist, why are you still lying to me? Grand Mist Ancestor's smile disappeared and he asked awkwardly, Taoist Master Xiao, what do you mean? Fellow Taoist Grand Mist. Xiaohua pointed with his finger and sighed. You must have looked for the spatial passage according to the Jade Eye after reading it. But you found that the spatial passage wasn't something you could find on your own, so you wanted to find someone to help you. Of course, I'm definitely not your first choice. Although I don't know why you chose the profound armored pentacorn dragon, but since you found it, he wouldn't agree to go with you so easily. He was also afraid that the spatial passage was fake, so he wanted to find someone to help him. Now that the demon race has 2 great sages, fellow Taoist, you're not happy about it. After some thought, you thought of me, and sent me a message. In other words, I'm the most likely person to know about the spatial passage, right? Sigh. The Grand Mist Ancestor's face turned even more awkward as his thoughts were exposed. He smiled awkwardly and said, It's not that I want to hide it from you. I just want to find it first so that I can bargain with the Immortal Palace, Thunder Temple, and Dragon Island for better conditions for my Dao Gate. However, I found that the spatial passage requires Dragon Sage's divine ability to get close, so I had to discuss it with Dragon Sage. After that, Dragon Sage said that his divine ability wasn't good enough and he needed Spider Sage's help. Of course, I wouldn't agree to go with the 2 great sages. So, I immediately thought of fellow Taoist. If you and I can find the spatial passage to the demon realm, won't our Dao sect have more bargaining chips? Won't we be able to save the billions of lives in the 3 continents? But, Xiaohua asked again, why are we the only 4 people who know about such a good thing? If we inform the Immortal Palace, Thunder Temple, or Dragon Island, won't more humans, demons, and dragons come? Won't our chances of finding the spatial passage be greater? The Grand Mist Ancestor was already prepared for this. He replied, There is a reason why I invited you here alone instead of informing the Immortal Palace. Oh. Fellow Taoist, please speak. Xiaohua's tone was filled with surprise, but his heart was also sneering as he asked. First of all, I'm not sure about this space channel, and I haven't found it yet, so I can't inform the Confucian cultivators and the Buddhist sect. The Grand Mist Ancestor didn't try to hide the truth from Huang Xiaolong. Secondly, this emperor has selfish motives. After all, the world-destroying strange worm is too powerful. Who knows when our 3 mainlands will be destroyed? I want to leave a way out for my sky-bearing palace and fellow Taoist Zhao's fortune gate. If the Immortal Palace and the Thunder Temple find out about this, how can you and I have a share in this? Fellow Taoist is right. Xiaohua nodded in agreement. Thirdly, the Grand Mist Ancestor continued, there's Devil Qi in the space tunnel. If the Immortal Palace and Thunder Temple knew about this, what would they think? They might think that this is our ambush and attack our Dao sect instead. Devil Qi? Xiaohua was taken aback and exclaimed, This Xiao understands now. You went to find the profound armored pentahorn dragon because of the Devil Qi, right? Not only that, the Grand Mist Ancestor said in a low voice, the space tunnel is located in a demon territory under the profound armored pentahorn dragon. Therefore, this emperor had no choice but to join hands with him. This Xiao understands now. Xiaohua nodded. When the dragon sage saw the Devil Qi, he knew that he couldn't pass through it with his own strength, so he wanted to pull the spider sage along, right? The Grand Mist Ancestor clapped. Fellow Taoist Zhao's foresight is amazing. Since there's Devil Qi. Xiaohua stroked his chin and thought to himself, this means that it might really be a space tunnel. Even if this space tunnel doesn't lead to the 10,000 demon world but the devil world, this Xiao should go and take a look. After all, there's a devil-resisting valley between the Dawn Rain mainland and the devil world. Xiaohua looked at the Grand Mist Ancestor and thought to himself, if there's really a space tunnel, then this Xiao has wronged the Grand Mist Ancestor. However, even if this is a trap, the Grand Mist Ancestor wants to use the Devil Qi to sneak attack this Xiao. Not to mention the Devil Qi, even if the profound armored pentahorn dragon, the Nether Devil Dragon Spider, and the Grand Mist Ancestor join hands, do you think this Xiao is afraid of you? Of course, this Xiao still has to guard against other tricks. Since Xiaohua had made up his mind, he smiled and said, I dare not say that I have foresight. Fellow Taoist Grand Mist, being able to find the space tunnel to the 10,000 demon world is the main merit. What merit? This emperor doesn't dare to ask for. The Grand Mist Ancestor waved his hand and said, This emperor is satisfied as long as this emperor can protect the sky-bearing palace. At this point, the Grand Mist Ancestor lowered his voice and said, Also, Taoist Xiao, this emperor and Taoist Xiao arranged a different time than the profound armored pentahorn dragon. This time, we are going to the 1,000 demons' sacred grounds to search for the space tunnel. Not only is the space tunnel dangerous, we don't know whether it leads to the 10,000 demon world or the devil world. Moreover, the most dangerous thing is the 2 great sages from the Great Sage Hall. Those who are not of our race will definitely have different intentions. They are of the demon race, and in their eyes, humans are food and ants. Moreover, you and I are in charge of the Tao Gate. If they want to destroy the Tao Gate, they can just kill the 2 of us. Therefore, we have to be on guard. Is this the reason why fellow Taoist asked this Xiao to come alone? Xiao Hua asked with a smile. The Grand Mist Ancestor smiled faintly and did not answer. Instead, he asked a question. Taoist Xiao is the Dragon Race's Dragon Master, the Immortal Palace's Lightning Master, and also the Thunder Sound Temple's Namo Merciful Great Guanyin Bodhisattva. Of course, you are not afraid of Immortal Emperor Gaochen or Vairocana Buddha, but this emperor has to be on guard. Fellow Taoist Grand Mist. Only now did I realize that you are also on guard against this Xiao. Xiao Hua asked meaningfully. This Xiao does not have any title in the Great Temple, but you actually found 2 great sages from the Great Temple as helpers. When the Grand Mist Ancestor heard this, he hurriedly waved his hand and said, Taoist Xiao is thinking too much. This emperor definitely did not have such thoughts. This is definitely a coincidence. Forget it, forget it. Xiao Hua said disapprovingly, This Xiao is just joking. You and I are both of the human race. Could it be that this Xiao would believe that there is a dragon race and a demon race? Of course. The Grand Mist Ancestor laughed and said, Otherwise, why would this emperor invite Taoist Xiao over for help? After saying this, the Grand Mist Ancestor looked left and right again and transmitted his voice. Let's discuss how to deal with the danger of the 2 great sages, shall we? Okay. Xiao Hua nodded and sat down cross-legged. The Grand Mist Ancestor also sat down on the ground and then took out a jade eye and handed it to Xiao Hua. The jade eye I gave Taoist Xiao earlier was not complete. This is the complete one. Taoist Xiao, please take a look. Xiao Hua took the jade eye and looked at it for a moment. After a while, he returned it to the Grand Mist Ancestor and said with a smile, This is no different from the previous one. It just has more information about the 10,000 demon realm. It is of no help in finding and passing through the space channel. The Grand Mist Ancestor's face was full of black lines. He took the jade eye and said with a bitter smile, Taoist Xiao is thinking too much. A space channel is a space channel. As long as you know the location, it is enough. How can the jade eye record the method to pass through the space channel? Then can this Xiao also understand it this way? Xiao Hua narrowed his eyes and asked, This space channel is very likely to have nothing to do with the 10,000 demon realm. It is just that the channel and the 10,000 demon realm's magnetism are recorded in the same jade eye? Taoist Xiao is right. The Grand Mist Ancestor nodded. This emperor also had this guess before. However, this emperor and Taoist Xiao have different thoughts. This emperor does not need any magnetism, nor do I need to go to the 10,000 demon realm. This emperor only needs a space channel to go out of the 3 mainlands. In the future if... Cough cough, Taoist Xiao, this emperor says this emperor, don't laugh at this emperor. If this space channel is real, this emperor will first take the sky-bearing palace's disciples and escape from the 3 mainlands. In fact, this is the real reason why this emperor did not tell the Immortal Palace and Thunder Sound Temple. There wasn't much disdain on Xiao Hua's face. After all, he also had the same plan. However, the Grand Mist Ancestor's sincere words made Xiao Hua's vigilance decrease slightly. He nodded and said, I won't hide it from fellow Taoist Grand Mist. To tell you the truth, this Taoist is not at ease with you. What metal, wood, and magnetism, at this time, this Xiao doesn't put them in my eyes. If it were not for the life and death of my Fortune Gate's disciples, this Xiao would not have come here. Good. The Grand Mist Ancestor smiled and said, as long as we have the same goal, it is excellent. This Emperor does not ask for any good changes in your eyes. This Emperor only asks that we find a good way out for our disciples. The problem is. Xiaohua changed the topic. The profound armored pentaceratops and nether demonic dragon spiders. Do they know? Their descendants are innumerable. Seeing that he had gained Xiaohua's trust, a smile appeared on the Grand Mist Ancestor's face. He said, this is something that can't be helped. After all, we need their help. Fortunately, they are from the demonic beast race. Although they have countless descendants, they have never been interested in them. The number of people they want to take away is less than the number of disciples of my sky-bearing palace. The Grand Mist Ancestor said enviously, this Emperor does not have Taoist Zhao's Kunlun mirror, so this Emperor cannot bring them into the Kunlun immortal realm. This Emperor can only bring them one by one. If Taoist Grand Mist trusts this Xiao, you can bring the sky-bearing palace's disciples into this Zhao's Kunlun mirror. When this Xiao finds a safe place, this Xiao will release all of you. Xiao Hua replied with a smile. How could the Grand Mist Ancestor put his life and the sky-bearing palace's disciples in Xiao Hua's hands? He looked at Xiao Hua and smiled faintly. Taoist Xiao, let's discuss some practical matters. These two demonic beast race great sages are definitely not good people. All right. Xiao Hua nodded and began to discuss with the Grand Mist Ancestor. However, half a day later, Xiao Hua lost interest. The more the Grand Mist Ancestor talked, the more he seemed to be prepared to kill the two great sages of the Great Holy Hall. After another hour, Xiao Hua waved his hand and said, Taoist Grand Mist Ancestor, can you still happily discuss with this Emperor? Although you didn't say it clearly, this is clearly a plan to kill them to silence them. This Xiao cannot do it. Taoist Xiao. The Grand Mist Ancestor slapped his forehead as if he had just woken up. He cried out, this Emperor forgot that you are the Buddhist sect's Namo Great Merciful Guanyin Bodhisattva. This Emperor's ordinary plan in your eyes is despicable. The Grand Mist Ancestor's tone was full of sarcasm, but Xiao Hua still insisted, no matter what you think, I do not care. If you want to discuss precautions, this Xiao can continue. If Taoist wants to burn the bridge after crossing the river and take the opportunity to kill the two great sages in the space tunnel, this Xiao has nothing in common with you. The problem is. The Grand Mist Ancestor really couldn't understand Xiao Hua's thoughts and said angrily, you and I don't plan, but the profound armored pentaceratops and the netherworld demonic dragon spider are planning. Isn't this the reason why the profound armored pentaceratops summoned the netherworld demonic dragon spider? Other people are other people. Xiao Hua sighed and said, this Xiao is this Xiao. What other people think, this Xiao does not care. However, this Xiao has a conscience, and this Xiao disdains. Humph. The Grand Mist Ancestor snorted coldly and closed his eyes to meditate. It really had the meaning of, those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. The Grand Mist Ancestor sneered, and Xiao Hua also sneered in his heart. If it wasn't for the matter with Prince Lan, Xiao Hua might have trusted the Grand Mist Ancestor and thought that he was looking for a way out for the Sky-Bearing Hall, Dao Gate, and the three mainlands. However, with Prince Lan's betrayal and Chongyu's death, how could Xiao Hua not be vigilant? In Xiao Hua's eyes, the Grand Mist Ancestor's every action was suspicious. Behind this disguise, there was naturally the Grand Mist Ancestor's sinister intention to kill Xiao Hua along with the two great saints. The awkward silence between the two Dao Gate's Grand Ascension stage experts directly affected the space within several hundred li of the Thousand Demons' sacred grounds. The sun that was rising in the sky began to turn cold, and faint dark clouds began to gather in the surroundings. Half a day later, a continuous rain began to fall. This time, it didn't matter, but a few days later, torrential rain poured down. Lines of rain pierced through heaven and earth and completely covered the left side of the mountain peak. The raindrops were like silk, sparkling brightly. Even in the dark night, there was a faint brilliance to them. Naturally, Xiao Hua and the Grand Mist Ancestor weren't afraid of the rain. When the rain fell 1,000 zhong away from the Grand Mist Ancestor, it was immediately blocked by an invisible barrier and couldn't fall any further. The space around the Grand Mist Ancestor was only 1,000 zhong away from the Grand Mist Ancestor, and there wasn't a single drop of water on it. Even the mountain peak was abnormally dry. On the other hand, the place where Xiaohua was sitting was filled with water, and the rain lines passed through Xiaohua's body as if they were nothing. Even though the Grand Mist Ancestor didn't open his eyes, he could clearly see the phenomenon of Xiaohua merging into the space around him. However, the corner of his mouth curled up into a cold smile, and he didn't take Xiaohua's warning to heart. Another few days passed, and the rain didn't stop. Instead, it became even heavier. The sky was filled with dark clouds, and they covered the land like cotton wool. Floods erupted on the ground, and rumbling sounds began to fill the air. Not to mention the collapsed trees. Even the nearby mountain peaks collapsed. Large pieces of rocks were washed down the mountain peaks by the flood, and they formed many mudslides. Seeing this, even though this place wasn't the hidden immortal mainland, Xiaohua still released his divine sense, wanting to see if there were any demonic beasts in danger nearby. But right at this time, boom! A loud explosion sounded, and it was as if a lightning bolt fell from the sky, and it was as if a god had descended from the sky. Xiaohua frowned slightly and looked up. He saw a brilliance like a pair of scissors falling from the sky in the north. As it flew, it cut through the horizon, and the dark clouds that covered the sky were split in half by this brilliance. At the same time, the rain that covered the ground was swept away by this brilliance. After the brilliance disappeared, the sky was filled with resplendent stars, and it looked extremely enchanting. The brilliance streaked across the sky like a meteor, and it was about to arrive in front of Xiaohua and the Grand Mist Ancestor. At this time, Xiaohua could see clearly with his naked eye that under the brilliance, there was a huge black dragon wearing black armor. Wasn't that the profound armored pentahorned dragon? Behind the dragon, there was a cloud of ink like black qi, and the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body was hidden within it, and they couldn't see it clearly. Swoosh! The profound armored pentahorned dragon stopped in midair, and the sky was filled with the sound of wind whistling. Behind the profound armored pentahorned dragon, waves of starlight mixed with some black dragon qi swayed in the air like the surface of a fan, and rushed into the distance. Wherever the brilliance passed, the dark clouds and falling rain were swept away. The moment the profound armored pentahorned dragon appeared, the torrential rain that had wreaked havoc for many days came to a stop. Seeing the profound armored pentahorned dragon's magnificent appearance, the Grand Mist Ancestor's eyes narrowed slightly, and he stood up from the incomparably dry mountain peak. He flew high into the sky and laughed loudly. Haha, people often say that the Dragon Saint is the best at summoning clouds and summoning rain among the dragon race. Now it seems that the name is true. We have been drenched by the rain on this mountain peak for several days, and the moment the Dragon Saint arrives, the heavens and clouds immediately disperse. The profound armored pentahorned dragon's body coiled, and a layer of black halo emerged from its dragon scales. It was like black ink that seeped into the void nearby, and what was special was that within the dragon scales, there were faint dragon patterns formed by devil qi that floated on the profound armored pentahorned dragon's body. The profound armored pentahorned dragon looked coldly at the Grand Mist Ancestor, and asked in a thunderous voice, "Who did you hear that from?" The Grand Mist Ancestor's words were polite, and if it was a human, they would definitely be modest. This way, their relationship would be closer, and as a member of the dragon race, the profound armored pentahorned dragon might not be unaware of the human's etiquette, but it just so happened that it did not give the Grand Mist Ancestor any face, and its words immediately tore apart the Grand Mist Ancestor's hypocrisy. The Grand Mist Ancestor opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but the profound armored pentahorned dragon did not give him a chance. The profound armored pentahorned dragon's body flickered, and a human figure that was several times bigger than a hill appeared. The profound armored pentahorned dragon cupped its fists at Xiaohua and said, "Greetings, Dragon Master Xiao." The Grand Mist Ancestor's cheeks bulged, and it was obvious that he was gnashing his teeth in hatred. Xiaohua smiled faintly and returned the profound armored pentahorned dragon's greeting. "Greetings, Dragon Saint. I didn't expect to see the Dragon Saint again so soon after we parted at the Jade Lake." Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe, give a monthly vote, a recommendation vote, a collection, a tip, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 47-25. Haha. The Pentaceratops dragon roared with laughter. Longsha Shao cares about the lives of the world and travels between the holy grounds. You and I will meet him sooner or later. Moreover, Longsha Zhao's name of Nanwu Guanyin Bodhisattva is well known by everyone in the world. Even the demonic beasts in our Thousand Beasts holy grounds give him a thumbs up whenever he is mentioned. Oh, don't you humans have a saying that goes, "Who in the world doesn't know the ruler?" Longsha Zhao is like the sun in the midday sky. As the Pentaceratops dragon spoke, he glanced at the Grand Mist Ancestor. By this time, the Grand Mist Ancestor had already regained his composure. There was a smile on his face as he stood at the side, oblivious to the Pentaceratops dragon's words. Greetings, Longsha Zhao. The nether demonic dragon spider did not miss the opportunity to approach Zhao Longsha. The several tentacles waved, and the arms formed from them greeted Zhao Longsha like a human. This was Xiao Hua's first time seeing the nether demonic dragon spider. Even though Feng Wu had already transmitted the appearance of the nether demonic dragon spider to Xiao Hua when they met, Xiao Hua was still astonished when he saw a gigantic black spider emitting the aura of the netherworld and an indescribable dragon aura. With a smile on his face, Xiao Hua cupped his fists and said, "Spider Saint, this Xiao has also heard of your name for a long time. Previously, when we were at the Dragon Island's Dragon Hall, the Great Elder even said that if this Xiao were to meet Spider Saint, he must first ask Spider Saint a question." The nether demonic dragon spider was stunned. He looked at the Pentaceratops dragon and asked, "What question does Longsha want to ask this Spider Saint?" "Naturally, it's about how to kill the world-exterminating mayflies." Xiao Hua smiled and said, "This Xiao does not know what Spider Saint's true form is, but this Xiao and Grand Elder also understand that Spider Saint is the world-exterminating mayflies heaven and earth. If Spider Saint has any secret art or method that can kill the world-exterminating mayflies and save the lives of the three mainlands, please do not hesitate to enlighten me." This Xiao thanked Spider Saint on behalf of the millions of lives. As he spoke, Xiao Hua raised his hand and saluted. At this moment, Xiao Hua was a Grand Ascension Stage Taoist as well as a Supreme of the Taoist Gate. His status was comparable to Immortal Emperor Go Chen, the first Elder of Dragon Island, and the Vairocana Revered One. In terms of reputation, he was far above everyone else. Xiao Hua's salute made the nether draconic spider feel extremely flattered. The nether draconic spider's body was overflowing with nether energy. Its human form had already collapsed. Several of its tentacles fluttered in a flurry, wanting to support Xiao Hua. Its black mouth even stuttered, Master Draconic, you are too kind. I really don't know what to do. Ahem." The Pentaceratops coughed and smiled bitterly. "Dragon Master Xiao, you're being too polite. If Spider Saint had any tricks up his sleeve, he would have told Rock Saint and Phoenix Saint long ago. He wouldn't have come here only today to find a way out for us." Yes. The nether draconic spider hurriedly replied. "Logically speaking, those strange insects are from the insect race, and I should be their nemesis. However, I've seen them a few times in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, and they couldn't sense my presence at all. Facing their power, this saint also doesn't have any good ideas." The nether draconic spider gradually calmed down from its flattered state, and the way it addressed itself also changed from "I" to "this saint." Xiao Hua smiled. He wasn't asking the nether draconic spider for a way to exterminate the mayflies. He was clearly giving the nether draconic spider a chance. Xiao Hua had already learned from Feng Wukong that the netherworld demonic dragon spider was the weakest of the 7 great sages. Furthermore, it had always been following the lead of the profound armored pentagonal dragon. If one were to talk about its roots, it was not a particularly hidden great sage. In particular, now that they were about to fight against the world-destroying mayflies, a great saint of the demon race would play a very important role. Xiao Hua didn't want the 3 continents to lose a great saint because of some blind obedience. Unfortunately, from the nether draconic spider's tone, Xiao Hua already knew that the nether draconic spider had made a choice. Right now, he could only hope that this search for the space channel wasn't a conspiracy. No matter. Xiao Hua nodded and said, "Since there's no Xiantian method, we'll fight with our lives. I believe that there's always a way out." Good. The Grand Mist Ancestor finally found his sense of existence and hurriedly clapped his hands. This emperor admires Taoist Zhao's unyielding spirit. This emperor? Unfortunately, before the Grand Mist Ancestor could finish speaking, the Pentaceratops glared at him and interrupted him coldly. "What kind of this emperor are you? This saint can't stand old Gao Chen calling himself this emperor. If you continue to show off, this saint and the spider saint will immediately turn back. The Grand Mist Ancestor's face was a little green and red, but after a while he smiled and said, "Since Dragon Sage doesn't like the way we humans address you, then I won't say it. Dragon Sage can't give up this opportunity just because of some small mistakes of mine, right? That place is really inappropriate." When the Pentaceratops heard this, a trace of worry appeared on its face. This saint didn't think that there would be a spatial passage to the 10,000 demon realm in the ordinary demon realm. And, to be honest, this saint doesn't think that it's a spatial passage. In fact, this saint thinks that even if there is a spatial passage, it's going to the demon realm. But, the Grand Mist Ancestor laughed, if it's going to the demon realm, then there should be demon clan members around the passage, right? And our 3 continents haven't seen any demon clan members for so many years. Didn't you also not see the spirit clan in the 10,000 demon realm? The nether demon dragon spider hurriedly retorted, how can you say that it's going to the 10,000 demon realm? Just based on the records in the Jade Eyes? I'm not going to say anything. The Grand Mist Ancestor was forced to shut up by the 2 demon clan great saints. Dragon Sage has already been there, but the Spider Saint hasn't. Oh, Taoist Xiao hasn't been there either. Let's wait for the 4 of us to take a look. Lead the way. The Pentaceratops ordered domineeringly. The Grand Mist Ancestor opened his mouth, but didn't say anything. He glanced at Xiaohua faintly, then urged his body to turn into a black-white rainbow and soared into the sky. Dragon Sage Xiao, please. The Pentaceratops dragon smiled and raised his hand, indicating Xiaohua to go first. Xiaohua nodded and said, Dragon Sage, thank you. As he spoke, lightning flashed around his body and whistled through the air. Xiaohua moved. The Pentaceratops dragon glanced at the nether demon dragon spider and turned back into its dragon form. Its pitch-black dragon body shook its head and wagged its tail. In the blink of an eye, it covered 100 li. The nether demon dragon spider's tentacles danced in the air, and clouds of devilish mist appeared as it chased after Xiaohua. After flying for half a day, Xiaohua saw an abyss-like place abruptly appear in the forest in the distance. Xiaohua scanned it with his divine sense and immediately understood. He stopped and turned around to send a voice transmission. Dragon Sage, is this the place where the world-destroying ephemera attacked? Seeing that Xiaohua had stopped, the Grand Mist Ancestor naturally stopped in front of him. The Pentaceratops dragon's divine sense swept over and nodded. Yes, it's impossible for there to be such a big abyss in an ordinary place. This place can only be created by killing the ephemera. Strange. Xiaohua rubbed his chin and asked in confusion. This Xiao has never seen the ephemera attack in the Western Paradise, but this Xiao has encountered them several times in the hidden Immortal mainland. When they attacked cultivators and humans, they only scraped the ground 3 feet deep. They didn't create such a big hole. This. The Pentaceratops dragon obviously hadn't thought of this problem. He pondered for a moment and looked at the nether demon dragon spider. The nether demon dragon spider also shook its head and said, This holy sage has never been to the Western Paradise, so I don't know what kind of strange insects are there. However, this holy sage is very clear that when the strange insects attack in the 1,000 demons' sacred territory, not only will the demons in the demon domain be annihilated, but the demon domain itself will also be destroyed, just like what Dragon Sage Xiao is seeing now. Taoist Master Xiao. The Grand Mist Ancestor said with a smile. It's actually very simple, because the quality of the soil in the 1,000 demons' sacred territory is completely different from the hidden Immortal mainland and the Western Paradise. This is the demon race's holy land. Didn't you see the demon fruits and demon herbs here? When sent to the hidden Immortal mainland, they are all things that everyone wants? If it wasn't for the spiritual qi in the 1,000 demons' sacred territory, how could such fruits grow? The strange insects like to devour things that contain spiritual qi, so the 1,000 demons' sacred territory's soil naturally includes them. In addition, I also carefully read the information from the Western Paradise. The Western Paradise is different from the hidden Immortal mainland. Let's not talk about the cultivators, they are all the targets of the strange insects. But what about the ordinary people? In the Western Paradise, no matter if they are women, children, old, they all worship Buddha. They are born with the root of wisdom, and their bones also have the light of Buddha. Therefore, most of the people that the strange insects attack in the Western Paradise are ordinary people. As for the hidden Immortal mainland, other than Confucian cultivators and scholars, most of them are ordinary people with no achievements. These people have no spiritual qi, and instead become the lucky ones. The world-destroying strange insects usually don't attack them. Hearing this, Xiaohua nodded inwardly. Recently, he came and went in a hurry. Even Princess Xia didn't have the time to carefully study the information from the 3 continents. Naturally, she wouldn't have the same speculation as the Grand Mist Ancestor. Xiaohua thought to himself, although the Grand Mist Ancestor is quite scheming and vengeful, he is after all an ambitious and ruthless person. In many aspects, this Xiaohua is inferior. If this kind of person is killed, it would be a pity. While Xiaohua was deep in thought, the Grand Mist Ancestor urged him again. Daoist Xiao, we should hurry. The Ping-Yi demon territory is right in front of us. The sooner we arrive, the sooner we can find a way out. Xiaohua nodded. He wanted to release the Netherworld Origin Force to collect the demon race's souls, but because of the Netherworld demonic dragon spider beside him, Xiaohua was afraid that the Grand Mist Ancestor would discover his secret. The demon territory mentioned by the Grand Mist Ancestor was extremely far away. The 2 human race's Grand Ascension Stage experts and the 2 demon race's Great Sage experts spent several days to reach it. On this day, it was already noon. On the other side of the land, a strange demon territory appeared in Xiaohua's divine sense. The Grand Mist Ancestor smiled and said, Daoist Master Xiao, the demon territory of Ping-Yi is just ahead. Hearing this, Xiaohua's brows furrowed slightly. His divine sense carefully scanned the surroundings. This demon territory of Ping-Yi was different from the other demon territories that Xiaohua had seen before. The other demon territories of Ping-Yi were either covered in high mountains or dense ponds. There were also places with splendid flowers or forests with demonic fruits. However, this demon territory of Ping-Yi's was filled with hills and ponds. What was special was that regardless of whether it was the hills or ponds, there was a kind of black silk floating above them. This black silk seemed to be devil qi, but it also contained a kind of extreme coldness. A layer of grayish-black frost could be vaguely seen under the black silk. Even when the noon sun shone on the black silk, it couldn't melt the frost in the slightest. Roar! As if sensing that someone was flying close, a violent aura rushed out from the distance. A furious roar like a beast's roar sounded like a drum. Humph! The profound armored pentahorn dragon snorted coldly. It didn't need to reply. The pentahorn dragon stretched out its body, and the aura of a great sage covered the sky. It immediately scattered the demonic beast's aura, and at the same time, the roar was silenced this place. The Grand Mist Ancestor didn't care about these details. He turned around and rushed towards the direction where the black qi was getting denser. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Xiaohua and the others arrived in the air above a medium-sized valley. This valley was formed by dozens of hills, and in the middle of this valley, there was a pool of water that was dozens of li wide. In the air above the pool, strands of yuan energy condensed into hair-like ice shards that fell into the pool with a shwa-shwa sound. The originally scorching sunlight shone on the space around the pool, turning it pale white. At the place where the ice shards fell, there were hundreds of millions of black qi that were like devil claws in the pool. They crazily reached into the air and gradually disappeared. Around the pool, not only was there not a single blade of grass, but every inch of the ground was covered with thumb-sized black soil. Xiaohua's divine sense swept across the pool, and a strange expression appeared on his face. When his divine sense reached into the pool, he was shocked. This was because the pool wasn't deep. It was only a few hundred meters deep, and the bottom of the pool was piled up with huge black rocks. When Xiaohua's divine sense passed through the rocks and probed for another 1,000 meters, he discovered that there were many spatial cracks that looked like honeycombs. When Xiaohua's divine sense fell into these spatial cracks, it was unexpectedly devoured. It wasn't strange for ordinary spatial cracks to devour a cultivator's divine sense, but how could a Grand Ascension Stage Daoist's divine sense be so easily devoured? Xiaohua's expression changed, and he understood why the Grand Mist Ancestor wanted to find the profound armored pentahorn dragon. It was because a large amount of scarlet devil qi was emerging from the spatial cracks. The Grand Mist Ancestor stopped, and the black and white halos around his body flickered like flowers blooming and withering. The black qi that covered the sky fell into the halos and disappeared without a trace. The Grand Mist Ancestor glanced at Xiaohua and pointed at the pool. Daoist Master Xiao, I'm sure you've discovered the danger within? When I came to investigate that day, I didn't even go 1,000 meters deep, and a large amount of devil chi gushed out. I's divine sense couldn't go beyond 1,000 meters, and my heart was filled with apprehension. After another 1,000 meters, although the devil chi decreased, the spatial cracks increased again. I saw that I had exhausted too much of my origin energy, and I didn't dare to go any deeper. That was why I went to seek help from the dragon sage. The profound armored pentahorn dragon looked at the Grand Mist Ancestor with disdain. You're also a Grand Ascension Stage Taoist. Yet, you're still so cowardly. You only explored 1,000 meters, and you hurriedly returned. Dragon Sage. The Grand Mist Ancestor couldn't help but retort. You don't seem to be much stronger than I, right? You only went 1,000 meters deep, and didn't you also stop? You turned around to look for the spider sage. Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? How can this holy sage be the same as you? The profound armored pentahorn dragon roared. This holy sage saw that the void passage is like a maze, and not only is there devil chi, there's also netherworld chi, and there's also an indescribable aura. Your jade pupil didn't give you any specific instructions to go to the 10,000 demon world. This holy sage thought that the nether demonic dragon spider was born with the ability to find directions in the void, and that's why I went to look for him. Ah! The Grand Mist Ancestor was stunned. Didn't you say? What? This holy sage was just joking with you. The profound armored pentahorn dragon laughed and said, if it's just devil chi and netherworld chi, why would the spider sage come? This holy sage can handle it alone. The Grand Mist Ancestor narrowed his eyes, and there was a hint of anger in his eyes. He even looked at Xianxia as if he was hinting at something. Unfortunately, Xianxia turned a deaf ear to the Grand Mist Ancestor's hint. Instead, he pinched his chin and asked the black-armored Pentaceratops, Dragon Sage, if it is as you said, this place is not simply a spatial crack, but a spatial cracks hub that leads to other world surfaces, right? Indeed. The profound armored pentahorn dragon nodded and said, in the void, this holy sage is like a headless fly, so this holy sage doesn't dare to casually enter, so I can only look for the spider sage. The profound armored pentahorn dragons casually was naturally for the Grand Mist Ancestor to hear. The Grand Mist Ancestor was a little angry, but when he heard that the profound armored pentahorn dragon was also afraid of him, his anger dissipated by more than half. Dragon Sage. The Grand Mist Ancestor said sincerely, I know that you and even Taoist Xiao doesn't have a good impression of I, but at this time, at this critical moment of life and death, for ourselves, for our disciples, we should temporarily put aside the previous estrangement. This place is not only a spatial tunnel, but also a hub. We must work together to find a way out. Dragon Sage. Xiaohua also said seriously, in the three mainlands, it's normal for us to have some grudges, and disputes are nothing. Now that we are working together to find a way out, we must do as fellow Taoist Grand Mist said, we must not have any disloyalty. What? Seeing that Xiaohua also spoke, the profound armored pentahorn dragon's anger rose, and he said, Dragon Master Xiao also wants to teach this holy sage a lesson. Io. Dragon Sage. Not far from the two people and one dragon, the netherworld demonic dragon spider had not spoken since he arrived. Several of his tentacles moved in the air, and strands of netherworld aura emerged from his tentacles, falling into the pond like needles. Occasionally, the dragon marks on the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body would also flicker with dragon chi, falling along with the netherworld aura. At this time, the netherworld demonic dragon spider suddenly exclaimed, the netherworld aura here doesn't seem to be the real netherworld aura. Is it? The profound armored pentahorn dragon didn't have time to talk to Xiaohua, and he flew over and asked, what's the difference? The netherworld demonic dragon spider pondered for a moment, then shook his head slightly. This holy sage can't say. It seems. This netherworld aura is mixed with something. If it's devil chi, it's not. If it's origin energy, it also doesn't seem like it. Hee spider sage, did you forget? Grand Mist Ancestor said with a smile, this space passage can lead to the 10,000 demon realm. This aura is naturally the aura of the 10,000 demon realm. This. The netherworld demonic dragon spider still shook his head. This holy sage has never been to the 10,000 demon realm, and I don't know the situation of the 10,000 demon realm, of course I can't tell. That's right. The profound armored pentahorn dragon also spoke at this time. This holy sage also feels that there's a strange aura in this devil chi, Previously I suspected that it might be the 10,000 demon realm spiritual energy, now it seems that it is. Spider Sage, inside this space passage, you can't imagine. There are countless cracks, like a huge maze. Once we're inside, this holy sage will rely on you. Rest assured, Dragon Sage. The netherworld demonic dragon spider laughed. This holy sage will definitely not let you down. Dragon Sage. Grand Mist Ancestor urged in a low voice. Let's go in. Okay. The profound armored pentahorn dragon responded, its body emitting a black brilliance. Then, layers of dragon patterns flowed like flowing lights. Roar. The profound armored pentahorn dragon's dragon head also emitted a 5-colored brilliance. The brilliance was like a flower blooming, enveloping the dragon's entire body. The other end of the brilliance crashed into the pool, but the brilliance did not cause any ripples. Instead, it created circles of light like a whirlpool. The profound armored pentahorn dragon let out a low roar. Its dragon body curled up and crashed into the ring of light. The moment its huge dragon body entered the ring of light, it turned into a shadow and disappeared in a moment. Seeing that the dragon sage had entered the pool, the spider sage did not dare to delay. The 2 tentacles in front of his head waved hurriedly. 2 streams of black devil chi rushed out, protecting the spider sage's body. The devil chi flew along with the spider silk, turning into the image of a demonic dragon, rushing into the pool. Humph. Grand Mist Ancestor snorted when he saw the 2 demonic race's great saints entering the pool. He lowered his voice and said, Taoist Xiao, along the way, you saw that I have been enduring. I am a human, you know, a human has no intention of harming a tiger, but a tiger harms a human's heart. Grand Mist Ancestor did not say anything. Black and white brilliance surged around his body, and he also entered the pool. Xiao Hua was not in a hurry. Instead, he pinched his chin and looked at the calm pool. After pondering for a moment, his figure turned into a gust of wind, entering the pool, descending to the bottom. Just like what he saw with his divine sense, the pool was only a few hundred feet deep, but there was already a lot of devil chi rushing out, permeating 100 miles underground. Lightning flashed around Xiao Hua's body, and any devil chi that came close to him was destroyed by the lightning. The billowing devil chi could not get close to him. However, as Xiao Hua went deeper, his divine sense was gradually restricted, and the devil chi corroded and swallowed the divine sense he released. Xiao Hua did not dare to let down his guard. After another 1,000 feet, the profound armored pentagonal dragon, nether demonic dragon spider, and Grand Mist Ancestor's figures appeared again. They really stopped outside a huge devil chi whirlpool. Seeing Xiao Hua enter, Grand Mist Ancestor pointed at the devil chi whirlpool and said, Taoist Xiao, this is the entrance to the space tunnel. After entering, there is a void crack. Since there is devil chi, Xiao Hua smiled and said, then I will have to trouble Dragon Sage to make a move. Not a problem. The profound armored pentagonal dragon smiled faintly, and the dragon horn on its head emitted a black brilliance. Then the dragon's body suddenly expanded. Boom boom. Dozens of moonlight pillars fell from the void, and as the moonlight pillars smashed into the profound armored pentagonal dragon's body, the devil chi on the dragon's black scales began to flow rapidly. Puff. When the dragon patterns surged to the profound armored pentagonal dragon's head, the dragon horn's brilliance was extremely bright. The profound armored pentagonal dragon opened its mouth again, and a mouthful of dragon breath like a heavenly river rushed out from its mouth, crashing into the devil chi whirlpool. Buzz buzz. When the dragon breath fell into the devil chi, it did not cause an explosion like water and fire. Instead, it blended like water and milk, and the dragon breath quickly entered the devil chi. Roar. The profound armored pentagonal dragon let out a low roar, and the nearby space trembled. Then the profound armored pentagonal dragon's dragon claw reached into the devil chi whirlpool, and the whirlpool that could devour divine sense suddenly swayed. 4 rays of light rushed out from the dragon claw and entered the whirlpool. Open. The profound armored pentagonal dragon let out another low roar and raised its dragon claw. Rip. A clear sound like silk being torn apart sounded, and the devil chi whirlpool was actually torn apart by the dragon claw. 1,000 zhang long space crack appeared in front of Xiao Hua and the others. Go. The Grand Mist Ancestor shouted again, and took the lead to fly into the space crack. As the Grand Mist Ancestor's figure entered the space crack, devil chi rushed out from the space crack again, as if it was caused by the Grand Mist Ancestor's fall. Dragon Sage Xiao, go first. The nether demonic dragon spider glanced at the space crack and reminded, the devil chi this time is different, it seems to counter the Dragon Sage's devil chi. If the dragon sage can't hold on, this dragon sage can take over. Okay. Xianxia did not stand on ceremony. He secretly circulated his true essence, and his figure blurred as he charged into the space crack. Xianxia was naturally extremely vigilant. Lightning rays appeared on the surface of his body like needles, and if he discovered any abnormality, Xiaohua's fury of thunder would be activated without hesitation. Unfortunately, after crashing into the space crack, Xiaohua was once again in a pitch-black space. Although his divine sense could not extend very far, Xiaohua could see clearly that the Grand Mist Ancestor was standing far away, looking at the billowing devil Qi in a daze. Fellow Grand Mist Ancestor. Xiaohua was a little puzzled, and he asked through voice transmission, "What are you doing?" "There are some changes to this spatial tunnel." The Grand Mist Ancestor pointed at a spot not far from him and said, "When this humble Taoist came here previously, there was a simple spatial tunnel here. There wasn't much devil Qi inside, and that place, looking in the direction the Grand Mist Ancestor pointed, Xiaohua saw a vague outline of space. That outline had already collapsed, and wisps of devil Qi rushed out from the collapsed space. That place is where I went to investigate, and now it has completely collapsed." The Grand Mist Ancestor said, "I suspect that after I left, the mystic armored Pentaceratops returned." "Maybe." Xiaohua spat out these two words, and he released his divine sense to carefully observe the surging devil Qi and the so-called faint spiritual energy in the space crack. Fellow Taoist Xiao. The Grand Mist Ancestor was a little unhappy, and he reminded Xiaohua through voice transmission, "At this time, are you still hoping for a fluke?" A trace of disgust appeared in Xiaohua's heart, and he withdrew his divine sense, and said with a smile, "Fellow Taoist Grand Mist, you and I came here to kill 2 demonic race great sages? Or to find a passage to the 10,000 demon world?" I understand Taoist's meaning." The Grand Mist Ancestor nodded thoughtfully and replied, "Since that's the case, I won't mention it again." Boom boom. While the two of them were talking, the mystic armored Pentaceratops and the netherworld demonic dragon spider rushed into the space crack, and the 2 demonic race great sages looked a little miserable. Behind them, the space crack had already closed, and sharp spatial wind blades rushed out from the sealed space, piercing in all directions. The mystic armored Pentaceratops just stood still, and he cried out in surprise, "Io, where's the passage we entered last time? Is it here?" The netherworld demonic dragon spider pointed at the place where the Grand Mist Ancestor was facing and asked in a low voice, "You saw through it?" Not to mention the mystic armored Pentaceratops, even Xiaohua was shocked, and he looked at the netherworld demonic dragon spider thoughtfully. The netherworld demonic dragon spider nodded, and pointed one of its tentacles in front of its head, and said, "Yes, Dragon Sage. The whole space is constantly changing, this is constantly being squeezed. Over there, it's slowly dissipating and tearing apart." The nether demonic dragon spider pointed to another location and explained, "Earlier, the Grand Mist Ancestor and Dragon Saint arrived at a coincidental time and happened to see a spatial tunnel appear. And here, the space passage has already disappeared. If it appears again, it will lead to another direction." The Grand Mist Ancestor was dumbfounded, and he released his divine sense to check the space around him, and he asked in confusion, "Spider Sage, this space doesn't seem to be changing? How can you tell that it's changing?" Spider Sage smiled faintly and said, "Grand Mist Ancestor, you seem to have forgotten what this holy sage is, right?" Netherworld demonic dragon spider. The Grand Mist Ancestor said half a sentence, and then he came to a realization. He looked at the netherworld demonic dragon spider's tentacles and laughed. "I understand now. Spider Sage is probably different from us. You don't rely on your eyes to see the surroundings, but on the several tentacles on your body, right?" "That's right." The netherworld demonic dragon spider nodded and said, "This holy sage's eyes actually can't see anything. This holy sage senses everything through my tentacles. Therefore, in this space, the naked eye, origin sense and divine sense are useless, but this holy sage's tentacles can sense the changes in the wind, devil Qi, and netherworld Qi naturally. This holy sage knows the changes in this space." Sigh. No wonder Dragon Sage insisted on inviting Spider Sage here. The Grand Mist Ancestor sighed, then looked around and asked, "Then according to Spider Sage's knowledge, where should we go?" "Everyone, please wait a moment," the netherworld demonic dragon spider said, and its recovered body began to fly in all directions, and as it flew, the netherworld demonic dragon spider spread out several tentacles, exploring the space around it. After the time it took to eat a meal, the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body swayed, and it suddenly accelerated, then stopped not far from the previous space passage. Ha! The nether demonic dragon spider laughed heartily, and the two tentacles on both sides of its body stretched out. Whoosh! Not only did a shadow appear, but there was also a strange fluctuation mixed with the aura of the netherworld that fell into the space covered by the devil chi. Woo-woo! Where the shadow landed, the devil chi was instantly dispelled, and then strange runes with frost could be seen behind the devil chi. These runes seemed to be natural, and they were linked together, sealing the space. However, there seemed to be some gaps between these runes, and the devil chi was seeping out from these gaps. And the netherworld demonic dragon spider's tentacles landed precisely on these gaps. Clang clang. Wherever the shadow landed, there was a sound of metal clanging, as if the tentacles were hitting a metal rock. That strange fluctuation was like a tadpole crashing into the rune. All of a sudden, a low rumbling sound came from the void. Amidst the rumbling sound, circles of arcs suddenly appeared where the nether demonic dragon spider's tentacles landed. Not only did they produce a rumbling sound, they also spread out in all directions. In just a short moment, they had actually completely covered the space in front of the nether demonic dragon spider's head. The demonic chi that had previously shrouded this space had now been dispelled, revealing the underground space and the arcs. Furthermore, the space under the arcs had condensed into a layer of silvery green. This moment, the netherworld demonic dragon spider's tentacles finally landed, and with a series of clangs and clangs, a string of sparks flew. Damn it! The netherworld demonic dragon spider was a little embarrassed, and it cursed under its breath. Haha! Spider Saint! The Pentaceratops dragon sneered. You underestimate the natural restriction in this space too much. If it weren't for the strange restriction in this space, how could this saint have returned empty-handed last time? If it weren't for the fact that this saint wasn't confident, how could I have called you over? The Grand Mist Ancestor smiled and said, Spider Saint, don't be anxious. The few of us don't have the ability to control space. Today, everything depends on Spider Saint. Spider Saint, you can take your time to break the restriction. After being mocked by the Pentaceratops dragon, the netherworld demonic dragon spider was originally embarrassed, and its tentacles had slowed down. Now that it heard the Grand Mist Ancestor's encouragement, a smile appeared on its face and it said, Many thanks for the encouragement, fellow immortal Grand Mist. This place is indeed a little strange. Let this saint take a look. I definitely won't disappoint fellow immortals and dragon saint. Immediately, the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body glowed with a dark green color, and the luster gradually gathered on its surface, condensing into the image of a demonic dragon. Roar! The demonic dragon let out a low roar, broke free from the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body, and pounced into the silver-green color that was as firm as a stick. Whoa! A strange sound emerged from the condensed space and spread in all directions. A strange light flashed through Xiaohua's eyes, and he looked at the space above with some surprise. The originally condensed space had already surprised Xiaohua, and now, at the source of the sound, all kinds of runes began to flicker, and all kinds of fluctuations overflowed, forming an extremely complicated fluctuation that flooded the entire space. Gee! The netherworld demonic dragon spider also let out a sharp cry, and the four tentacles in front of it formed layers of afterimages in the air, and pierced into the silver-green color that had condensed space. Xiaohua could clearly see that the four tentacles were landing on four strange runes. Puff 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 puff. The four runes shattered at the place where the tentacles had landed, and like the wilting of flowers, they turned into strokes and fell down in the air. At the same time, from the place where the four runes shattered, another layer of dark green light emerged, spreading in all directions like a wave, and in an instant, it covered an area of several dozen li. The netherworld demonic dragon spider laughed loudly and said, Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Dragon Sage, I'll go in first. Without waiting for the profound armored Pentaceratops to speak, the netherworld demonic dragon spider's tentacles waved, and its huge body crashed into the dark green light like a boulder thrown into a pool of water. Plop! A crisp sound rang out as the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body fell into the dark green light, and the dark green light actually faded like a pool of water. Seeing the netherworld demonic dragon spider's body fall into the dark green light, the Grand Mist Ancestor did not dare to delay. He glanced at Xiaohua and the profound armored Pentaceratops, and rushed into the dark green light as if he couldn't wait any longer. Puff! The Grand Mist Ancestor's body disappeared where the black and white light landed, and nothing strange happened. Dragon Sage Xiao. Seeing the netherworld demonic dragon spider and the Grand Mist Ancestor enter, the profound armored Pentaceratops solemnly said, "You go in first. This holy sage is afraid that the space will change again. This holy sage will go in last." "All right, then I'll have to trouble Dragon Sage." Xiao Hua nodded and formed a series of hand seals with his left hand. Lightning surged around his body as he charged into the space. Seeing Xiao Hua's figure gradually disappear, the mystic Pentaceratops slightly raised its dragon claw, and the demonic aura around it surged. Within the space, the demonic aura that had been driven away by the nether demonic dragon spider also shook. But in the next moment, the profound armored Pentaceratops lowered its dragon claw, and its dragon body also flew into the dark green light. Although Xiao Hua did not release his divine sense, he was already on high alert. When he flew into the dark green light, not only did his hands form hand seals, but he also circulated the true essence in his body, which was rare for him. The lightning on the surface of his body flowed up and down, and if there were any changes, he would immediately activate the hand of lightning and lightning escape. Fortunately, the light and shadow in front of his eyes didn't seem to be any abnormal fluctuations or overflow of magic power. Moreover, when Xiao Hua rushed through this dark green light, a familiar green seal character aura faintly appeared again. After rushing through the dark green light barrier, a faint outline of the void appeared in front of him. The netherworld demonic dragon spider and the Grand Mist Ancestor had already blocked Xiao Hua at the boundary of the space. "Spider Sage, fellow Taoist Grand Mist?" Xiao Hua asked curiously with a smile on his face. "Is this the space hub you saw earlier?" The netherworld demonic dragon spider answered casually, then it came to a realization and hurriedly explained, "This sage has not been here before, but when this sage came in, this sage felt that this space hub was very strange." As it spoke, one of the netherworld demonic dragon spider's tentacles pointed into the distance and said, "Dragon Sage, please take a look. Although this space looks very weak, there seems to be a small legendary passage inside. If you rush in from here, you will definitely be transported out. As for where you will be transported to, no one knows. As for the other places, it seems to be much thicker than the place we came in from. Although this sage has the talent of space, I'm afraid that I can't break through it." "Is that so?" Xiao Hua released his divine sense. Unfortunately, his divine sense was even more restricted than before. It could only be released for a few dozen zhang, and it was unable to go very far. "Not good," Xiao Hua said in a low voice. "This Xiao's divine sense is actually restricted. This place is too strange." "Sage, no need to be so surprised." The Grand Mist Ancestor laughed. "When I came in, it was even worse. My divine sense could not leave my body, but looking at Sage's situation, I presume that you can leave your body, but it can't go very far, right?" "Indeed." Xiao Hua looked around and smiled bitterly. "This space hub is so strange. We don't have any divine sense. What should we do?" "There's no other way." The Grand Mist Ancestor blinked his eyes at Xiao Hua and smiled bitterly. "Now we can only rely on the Spider Sage's divine ability. It seems that even the Dragon Sage is extremely afraid of this place." Chapter 47-26. After flying like this for a full half an hour, the entire space gradually gave birth to a kind of heavy feeling, as if there was a kind of strange pressure coming from all directions of the space, squeezing towards Xiao Hua's fleshly body. The passage in front of them had almost completely disappeared, leaving only dense devil qi and crimson blood shadows. "Fellow Taoist Xiao." Grand Mist Ancestor's voice came again, this time with a strong sense of unease. "Things are not good. Jade eyes really have some problems." Xiao Hua nodded. The passage recorded in the Jade Eyes should lead to the crack of the Devil World, not the other 10,000 demon world. "Then what should we do?" We should take advantage of the fact that we haven't reached the Devil World and turn back first?" Grand Mist Ancestor probed. "Even if this is the real passage, it leads to the Devil World. Our human race can't go to the Devil World, right? If it's the Devil World, we should follow." Xiao Hua said coldly. "As long as we find any movement from the two great sages, we will immediately take action. Then we will find a way to seal this space passage. We must not let the devil race invade the 3 continents. Now that the 3 continents are at the end of their road, we can't make things worse. What if this devil Qi can kill the world-destroying strange insect? The Grand Mist Ancestor asked hesitantly. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he immediately regretted it. Forget it. If the devil Qi could kill those strange insects, the Pentaceratops dragon would have already raised its tail. Why would it follow us to explore this place? So, we must not let this space passage to the devil world be exposed. Xiaohua's tone was unusually serious. Go. Grand Mist Ancestor did not dare to delay and hurriedly urged, even if the passage doesn't lead to the devil world, there may be cracks in the walls of this space. If the Pentaceratops profound armored dragon wants to, it has a divine ability to open a space passage. The Pentaceratops profound armored dragon has such a divine ability? Xiaohua frowned. Of course, Grand Mist Ancestor said self-deprecatingly. I suffered at its hands in the past. If it didn't have such a unique divine ability, how could it become the second great sage of the demon race? That was before. Xiaohua said proudly, if it makes any movements today, I will kill it first. Subsequently, Xiaohua and Grand Mist Ancestor increased their speed, catching up to the profound armored Pentaceratops and nether demonic dragon spiders. At this moment, the nether demonic dragon spider seemed to be taking a leisurely stroll as it shuttled through the densely packed space tunnels like a spiderweb. Those tunnels of various sizes were now shrouded in demonic aura. Although there were no demons or blood shadows appearing in the demonic aura, the indescribable sense of heaviness was getting stronger and stronger. After another hour, the netherworld demonic dragon spider turned into a narrow tunnel that was twisted like a chicken's intestine. It immediately let out a wild laugh and said, "Ha ha ha, Dragon Sage, I was right, wasn't I? This tunnel doesn't lead to the demon realm. Damn it, it's true. This saint admires you." The mystic Pentaceratops' voice was also filled with surprise. When we passed through those tunnels earlier, it looked like we were in the demonic realm. Why is the demonic qi in these tunnels decreasing so drastically? The 2 demonic race great saints whistled as they left. Xiaohua and Grand Mist Ancestor flew over once again. Sure enough, after turning the corner, they saw a gray area in front of them. The demonic aura had decreased by 60%, and an indescribable aura was emitted from the depths of the tunnel. Isn't this the aura of the 10,000 demon realm? Grand Mist Ancestor exclaimed in delight. Ai's jade pupil technique recorded it correctly. Good. Xiaohua didn't say anything else. He praised Grand Mist Ancestor and continued forward. In the following dozens of tunnels, the demonic aura became thinner, and the heavy pressure also lessened. However, Grand Mist Ancestor felt uneasy again. He whispered, Taoist Xiao this. How can the nether demonic dragon spider's innate ability be so powerful? It's already so deep into the space tunnel. Could it be? It already found out about this place when it was outside the tunnel? Xiaohua shrugged and shook his head. This Xiao doesn't know. This Xiao was born with a poor sense of direction. I can't even tell the directions on the 3 mainlands, not to mention in the void. Therefore, this Xiao has no idea how this spider sage got here. Alright. Grand Mist Ancestor knew that Xiaohua wasn't lying. He could only nod his head and say, I just feel a little guilty, I don't have the confidence. Ha! In front of them was a flickering light, as if there was no tunnel. Seeing this light, the nether demonic dragon spider laughed loudly. Dragon Sage, this is a void barrier. If there is a tunnel, you will be able to see another world after passing through this barrier. If there isn't a tunnel, you won't be able to pass through this barrier. This holy sage's ability ends here. The rest is up to you. Go away. The profound armored pentahorn dragon laughed and scolded. We're already here, why aren't you moving faster? Do you want to see this holy sage make a fool of himself? Haha, yes. The nether demonic dragon spider laughed and waved its tentacles. An illusory image of a nether demonic dragon spider emerged from its body. Then, an inexplicable grayish-white color rushed into the illusory image from the void. Then, the illusory image pounced on the space barrier. Its tentacles danced in the air as if they were swimming. In an instant, the faint light became thicker. Crack, crack. Like an eggshell cracking, the space barrier began to shatter. The nether demonic dragon spider's illusory image disappeared into the light. Good. The nether demonic dragon spider praised. Its body flashed and rushed into the illusory image, disappearing in an instant. Above the space barrier, there was a giant nether demonic dragon spider's door. Roar! The profound armored pentadragon roared and also rushed into the door. Its dragon body disappeared. Xianxia and the Grand Mist Ancestor rushed over quickly. The nether demonic dragon spider's spatial door was still above the space barrier. Even though the door emitted the so-called Thousand Demon World's aura, Xianxia's divine sense couldn't penetrate it. It's really the Thousand Demon World. The Grand Mist Ancestor was overjoyed. Behind this space barrier, it must be the Thousand Demon World space network. Granny, my sky-bearing palace's disciples are saved. With that said, the Grand Mist Ancestor's figure moved and was about to rush in. But after flying a few feet, he stopped and smiled. Daoist Xiao, please. Xiaohua looked at the Grand Mist Ancestor indifferently and said, Daoist Grand Mist, although this Xiao doesn't care about many things, it doesn't mean this Xiao is a fool. Today, this Xiao has rushed in front many times, this last time. It should be Daoist Xiao's turn, right? The Grand Mist Ancestor's face became awkward, and he smiled apologetically. Daoist Xiao, this is the human race's first step into the Thousand Demon World. I don't dare to snatch this honor from Daoist Xiao. This space tunnel was discovered by Daoist Xiao. This honor naturally belongs to Daoist Xiao. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, if I snatched it, it would be unethical. All right. Seeing Xiaohua's determined words, the Grand Mist Ancestor helplessly said, then I will go in first. Daoist Xiao, please. Xiaohua smiled faintly and raised his hand. The Grand Mist Ancestor stretched out his hands and rubbed his palms together. Black and white crystal lights the size of a thumb flew out from his hands and turned into a black and white light screen to protect his body. Whew! The Grand Mist Ancestor's figure flashed, and he disappeared into the space tunnel. When the map is unrolled, the dagger is revealed. Xiaohua looked at the Grand Mist Ancestor flying in and rubbed his nose. He looked around and sneered. Since I'm already here, if I don't go in, it would make me look petty. Since that's the case, I'll play with you. Let's see what tricks you have up your sleeves. Lightning flashed around Xiaohua's body and he rushed into the space tunnel. A colorful light flashed in front of him, and Xiaohua had already passed through the space barrier and landed in a colorful space. The fresh smell that had just leaked out assailed his nostrils. However, before Xiaohua could see the situation clearly, a dragon's roar resounded in the air. Before the dragon's roar could finish, Xiaohua heard the Grand Mist Ancestor's blood-curdling scream. Ah! You actually set up an ambush here. The Grand Mist Ancestor's figure staggered across the space not far away and flew to Xiaohua's side. He said in a panic, Daoist Xiao, quick, leave quickly. This is the profound armored pentaceratops and the nether demonic dragon spiders ambushed us. Xiaohua was naturally shocked, but he looked at the Grand Mist Ancestor's right shoulder that had caved in and said anxiously, Daoist Grand Mist, you go first and scout ahead. I'll hold them off for a while. Then I'll rush out and chase after you. Okay. The Grand Mist Ancestor did not decline. He leaped past Xiaohua and charged towards the space barrier. Lightning crackled around Xiaohua's body as he roared at the space barrier. Black armored pentaceratops, you're still thinking of betraying us at this point? The Grand Mist Ancestor has warned me several times to be careful of you. Haha. Before Xiaohua could finish, the profound armored pentaceratops that had recovered its huge dragon body laughed loudly. Why are you saying so much? Xiaohua, hand over your life. With that said, the profound armored pentaceratops's pitch-black dragon claws flashed, and they turned into mountains as they clawed at Xiaohua. This time, the Grand Mist Ancestor, who had just passed by Xiaohua, suddenly turned into a streak of light. On his hands, one black and one white radiance condensed into two star shapes, and they landed on Xiaohua's back at lightning speed. Seeing the lightning protecting Xiaohua's body being annihilated by the black and white star-like lights, the Grand Mist Ancestor's hand had already touched Xiaohua's back. Swoosh! Just as the Grand Mist Ancestor was about to go wild with joy, his hands landed on Xiaohua's back. Unfortunately for him, a soft sound rang through the air as his hands passed through Xiaohua's body. Xiaohua's body suddenly turned into a shadow. Not good. The Grand Mist Ancestor's smile froze on his face, and he hastily circulated his magic power in an attempt to escape. Rumble! Behind the Grand Mist Ancestor, A lightning hand that was only a few feet long suddenly appeared and landed on the Grand Mist Ancestor's back. The Grand Mist Ancestor's soul flew out of his body, and his body suddenly turned illusory. Strands of black and white chi seeped out from his body, and in the same instant, the Grand Mist Ancestor's figure flickered, and he had already teleported 100 zhang away. Although the Grand Mist Ancestor was fast, he was still slower than Xiao Hua's lightning escape technique. He only managed to dodge the attack on his back, and the lightning hand landed on his left shoulder. Puff, puff, puff. A series of soft sounds rang out as the Grand Mist Ancestor's body collapsed into pieces. The lightning roared and pounced on the Grand Mist Ancestor's physical body, wanting to completely destroy his innate Dao physique. Damn it. The Grand Mist Ancestor howled in grief as he teleported towards the profound armored Pentaceratops. At this time, he had no time to care about the Pentaceratops's thoughts. Fortunately, the Pentaceratops's dragon claws had already covered the surrounding void, and it had already blocked Xiao Hua's body. Humph. Xiao Hua coldly snorted and clenched his right fist. He didn't dodge, and like a meteor chasing after the moon, he slammed his fist towards the Pentaceratops's dragon claws. Ka ka ka. The power of the dragon claw collided with the power of Xiao Hua's fist, and a crisp sound rang out in the void. A series of strange curves appeared in the void, and the void was compressed by the power of one man and one dragon. Boom. A muffled sound rang out, and all the light and shadow gathered around the dragon claws and fist. In an instant, all the light and shadow turned into fireflies and exploded in all directions. Compared to the Pentaceratops's thin and small body, Xiao Hua's body was shot out like a bullet, and he rushed towards the space door behind him. Roar! At the same time that Xiao Hua was sent flying, another shockwave emerged from the Pentaceratops's dragon claws, and the shockwave seemed to explode from the dragon claws, spreading towards the dragon's abdomen and even the rest of its body. Ka-ka-ka! Pieces of dragon scales flew out and shattered into powder, and a part of the Pentaceratops' profound armor was also torn apart and scattered in the void. The Pentaceratops let out a miserable howl as its body twitched in pain. It retracted its claws and rolled around in the void, looking even more miserable than Xiao Hua. Quick! Don't let him escape! The Grand Mist Ancestor had just stabilized himself in another place, and at the same time, he was trying his best to control the black and white light screen to destroy the lightning rays. When he saw that Xiao Hua was about to escape, he immediately cried out in alarm. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as Xiao Hua was about to reach the space barrier, a slight movement came from the space door. Strands of spider silk strangely appeared, flickering with a dark green and black luster, blocking the entire door. At the same time, thousands of tentacles appeared from all sides of the door, blocking the space in front of Xiao Hua's eyes. When he looked at the door again, the netherworld demonic dragon spider was already blocking in front of Xiao Hua's eyes. Xiao Hua's lightning-like figure suddenly came to a stop, and his figure flashed, flying towards another place in the space, and then revealed his arrogant figure, standing there coldly. Xiao Hua stood still and didn't speak, and he instead released his divine perception with the intention of probing. Unfortunately, his divine perception had just been activated when a type of indistinct pressure of an extremely heavy weight was born, and Xiao Hua's divine perception that was like cast iron was actually blocked within less than 300 m. However, Xiao Hua was not surprised, and he looked around. He saw that this was a huge space, and it seemed to be boundless, but the colorful lights around the space seemed to be not far away. This strange situation immediately made Xiao Hua think of the edge of a world surface. He somewhat understood. This was probably the edge of a world surface, or perhaps it was an immature world surface, and the space might not be big, but there were innate restrictions all around, and it seemed to be boundless. After he was done, Xiao Hua's gaze landed on the nether demonic dragon spider. At this moment, the spatial door he had opened earlier was gradually closing behind the nether demonic dragon spider. Hundreds of shattered fireflies surged in from all directions, blocking the spatial crack. Not bad. A smile appeared on Xiao Hua's face as he looked at the netherworld demonic dragon spider and said, "This is a good place to kill people. It's hard for you to find this place." Ha ha! Dragon chi surged around the black armored Pentaceratops body, and it slowly forced the power of Xiao Hua's punch out. It looked at Xiao Hua and laughed loudly. "Dragon teacher Xiao Hua, you can be proud. In order to find a place to ambush you, do you know how much effort this Holy One and Spider Saint spent? And in order to lure you here, do you know how much effort the Grand Mist Ancestor spent? The three of us, the strongest cultivators of the 3 continents, did so much to kill one person, looking at the whole world, who can afford to pay for it? Killing Peng Saint is not worth it. Killing Gauchen, he won't fall for it. But killing Virokana, you don't have the guts. Xiao Hua rubbed his nose and laughed, as if he had seen the funniest thing in the world, and replied, "So you can only scheme against this Xiao, this kind-hearted human." "That's right, you're really too kind-hearted." The black-armored Pentaceratops nodded and said, "In order to kill those strange insects, you went to Dragon Island, Immortal Palace, and Leyene Continent to persuade the various forces of the 3 continents. From the looks of it, although the embryonic form of an alliance hasn't appeared yet, as the strange insects become more rampant, this alliance will definitely be formed, and you will definitely become the strongest person in the 3 continents. This Holy One doesn't like this kind of person." "Just for this?" Xiao Hua was puzzled. "For your selfish desires, for your dreams to be realized by this Xiao, you want to kill this Xiao? Can you just forget about the world-exterminating mayfly disaster?" "Xiao Hua, don't think too highly of yourself." The Grand Mist Ancestor sneered, "Killing the strange insects is the matter of the 3 continents. One more Xiao Hua won't make a difference. One less Xiao Hua won't make a difference. Similarly, if you can kill the strange insects, one less Xiao Hua will be able to kill them all. If you can't kill the strange insects, the entire 3 continents will be destroyed. One more Xiao Hua won't make a difference. As for the mutated true qi you mentioned, this old man is very clear. The 3 continents don't have any space passage to the outside world. You can't return to the Dawn Rain continent." Xiao Hua ignored the Grand Mist Ancestor, and looked at the black-armored Pentaceratops and asked word by word, "Black-armored Pentaceratops, you still haven't answered this Xiao's question." The black-armored Pentaceratops' body swayed slightly, and he shrugged like a human and said with a smile, "This Holy One is too lazy to answer a dying person." "Then this Xiao will answer you." Xiao Hua looked at the black-armored Pentaceratops and said, "Because you have a guilty conscience. Although this Xiao hasn't made a move yet, you're afraid that this Xiao will make a move in the future. Because Bai Qingyu's tragedy was one of the masterminds behind it." The black-armored Pentaceratops laughed and looked at Xiao Hua with interest. "Xiao Hua, can you imagine that this Holy One has something to do with Bai Qingyu? What you said is a bit baffling." Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe, give a monthly vote, a recommendation vote, a collection, a tip, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 47-27. It's very simple. Xiao Hua replied, "That day, the 3 monster kings of the monster clan clearly said that Bai Qing was instructed by the 7-colored seashell to suppress me in order to obtain information that no one in the 3 continents knew. Therefore, the 7-colored seashell and I had a dispute. As for Ni Quan, he wanted some of my forces in the hidden Immortal continent. I let him go for wool and come home shorn, so I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. The strangest one was Peng Jun. He thought that he was instructed by the Golden-Winged Rock, but the Golden-Winged Rock knew nothing about it. I think Dragon Sage knows about it too." Peng Jun wanted to know the whereabouts of Reverend Yun. At that time, Reverend Yun had just condensed his body. The only reason he wanted to find Reverend Yun was his dragon body. Of course, on the surface, the Golden-Winged Rock was the most suspicious. He could break through the starry sky if he swallowed Reverend Yun's dragon body. But secretly, there was a great saint who could also break through the starry sky with Reverend Yun's dragon body. To be honest, Dragon Sage had said that day that he suspected you the most. The pentagonal dragon asked curiously, "But why didn't you take action at that time?" Xiao Hua smiled. "The problem lies in the dragons that you sent to attack Ao Shang." "Hee, Reverend Xiao, you're really interesting. I admit that I have some descendants of the dragons in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, but not all of them are my subordinates, right?" The pentagonal dragon smiled. "If I sent the dragons to attack Ao Shang in the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, wouldn't that be too careless of me?" "You're trying to cover it up." Xiao Hua laughed and said, "Everyone knows that Long Shang is cunning and calculative. No matter what, no one would think that such an obvious arrangement was made by Long Shang. However, Long Shang used this mentality to make this Xiao hesitate at that time. Because I thought that the dragons might be arranged by the second elder of the Dragon Palace." "Of course it's Ao Yi's doing," the pentagonal dragon said coldly. "He's been coveting the position of Dragon Island's great elder for many years. Ao Shang is also known as the Junior Elder, and he's already in front of him. How could he tolerate Ao Shang's existence? Aoe did not dare to make a move when Ao Shang was on Dragon Island. However, once he left Dragon Island, how could he let Ao Shang return alive? I don't know whether or not Second Elder participated in the attack last time. Xiao Hua shook his head and said, but when I went to Dragon Island last time, Ao Jia reminded me to pay attention to Dragon Sage. He didn't mention Aoe. That damned old man. The Pentaceratops roared angrily. He's framing me. Xiao Hua ignored the mystic armored Pentaceratops and continued. With Ao Jia's words, this Xiao is even more certain of Dragon Sage's suspicions. At that time, Dragon Saint must have learned about Reverend Yun from one of the elders of the Dragon Palace, and he might have even reached an agreement with one of the elders of the Dragon Palace, preparing to devour Reverend Yun's dragon body separately. With that, all of you can break through the starry sky. That was why Dragon Saint had pretended to be Rock Saint and sent a message to Peng Jun in the Great Sage Palace, forcing the little white dragon to reveal Reverend Yun's whereabouts. It's a pity that the little white dragon is not me, and he will never know the whereabouts of Reverend Yun. That's just your guess. The Pentaceratops denied flatly. Paper can't wrap fire in the end. I'm sure Dragon Saint is afraid of this Xiao discovering his secret. Xiao Hua looked at the Pentaceratops, nether demonic dragon spider, and Grand Mist ancestor surrounding him, but he was not in a hurry. He calmly said, that's why he wanted to join hands with them to eliminate this Xiao. Of course, this is not the whole reason. I'm sure Dragon Saint has long wanted to meddle with the Dragon Palace of the Four Seas, right? However, Dragon Saint did not see that Immortal Emperor Go Chen had taken the initiative in the eyes of the Dragon Kings of the Four Seas. Now that the West Sea Dragon King had suddenly disappeared, Dragon Saint coveted him again. However, before Dragon Saint could make a move, this Xiao's disciple, Jianghu, stepped in first. Oh, if it's possible, was it Dragon Saint who instigated the Saint River Dragon clan? The Pentaceratops did not answer. Seeing that the Pentaceratops was silent, Xiao Hua continued, if they want to meddle with the West Sea Dragon Palace, they naturally have to kill Jianghu, but our fortune gate is like the sun at noon. Dragon Saint probably can't make a move openly, so he targeted this Xiao. At this time, there is another person who harbors even more malicious intentions towards this Xiao. Did he find Dragon Saint? Although both of you were enemies, and one of you was even suppressed by the demonic beast race, in the face of common interests, both of you joined hands. Speaking of this, Xiao Hua turned to look at the Grand Mist ancestor and grinned. Little brat Grand Mist, don't you think this old man is right? In order to assassinate this Xiao, you actually colluded with a foreign race, you actually conspired with your own enemy, you. Can you still be considered a human? Humph. The Grand Mist ancestor did not deny, and snorted coldly. Xiao Hua, if we kill you, the fortune gate will become a pile of loose sand. The West Sea Dragon Palace will belong to Dragon Saint, and the West Sea's Fortune Gate disciples will also belong to my sky-bearing hall. This is killing two birds with one stone. Who wouldn't be tempted? Clap, clap. Xiao Hua clapped his hands and laughed. Not bad, not bad. You can actually admit it. You can be considered to be responsible. People often say that little brat Grand Mist has a vicious heart, and will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Now, it seems that there are some benefits. You will obtain the West Sea's Fortune Gate's forces and become the Dao Gate's #1 person, and Dragon Saint will obtain the West Sea Dragon Palace. His strength will increase greatly. Suddenly, Xiao Hua changed the topic and looked at the netherworld demonic dragon spider. Then what about Spider Saint? What benefits can you obtain? The netherworld demonic dragon spider hesitated, unable to say anything. The profound armored pentahorn dragon laughed. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Naturally, it's Taoist Zhao's Grand Ascension stage nascent soul. That thing is a great supplement for my demonic beast race. After Spider Saint devours the nascent soul, he will definitely surpass the scarlet flame vermilion bird, and even the flying feather void beast. This Xiao came to a realization and slapped his forehead, laughing. This Xiao has neglected this matter. You are demonic beast race. But that brat Grand Mist is also a Dao Gates Grand Ascension stage cultivator. Wouldn't it be easier for this Xiao to obtain his nascent soul? Why didn't Spider Saint kill that brat Grand Mist? Xiao Hua, even at this point, you still can't forget to sow discord. The Grand Mist Ancestor sneered. I'm not afraid to let you know that this old man has a Xiantian Dao body, and I don't need any nascent soul to cultivate to the point of ascension. Ayoyo. Xiao Hua's face was full of shock, and he cried out. You actually have the legendary Xiantian Dao body? That's really too amazing. Humph. The Grand Mist Ancestor snorted arrogantly. But Xiao Hua changed the topic. Isn't the Xiantian Dao body more nutritious than a Grand Ascension stage nascent soul? More suitable for Spider Saint to eat? Give it a recommendation vote, collect it, gift it, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 4728. Damn it! Grand Mist Ancestor was flustered and cursed in his heart. He glanced at the profound armored Pentaceratops and the netherworld demonic dragon spider, then sneered at Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua, what's the use of saying so much? Even if I have difficulties in the future, now, you're dead for sure. Is that so? Xiao Hua smiled and took out the Kunlun mirror. Do you think I didn't prepare anything? Do you think I'm not worried about you? Of course not. Grand Mist Ancestor's smile became even brighter. I never thought that Taoist Xiao would let go of your guard against me. Xiao Hua was stunned and looked at Grand Mist Ancestor in confusion. When he activated his consciousness, his expression changed greatly. Because Xiao Hua couldn't sense the existence of space. Ha ha! Grand Mist Ancestor laughed. How is it, Taoist Xiao, you can't find the Kunlun paradise, right? Xiao Hua pretended to be calm, and looked around. So this space has such an effect. Yes, Taoist Xiao has the Kunlun mirror. Not only do you have millions of soldiers with you, you also have Taoist Mahayana realm experts. Immortal Emperor Gaochen, the 4 aristocratic families, and the 7-colored sea god Shell all suffered. How can we not learn from it? Grand Mist Ancestor was very happy. In order to hide your Kunlun paradise, we spent a lot of effort. Fortunately, the heavens reward the diligent, and we finally found an excellent place to ambush Taoist Xiao. Good, it's been hard on you. As Xiao Hua spoke, he activated his magic power. Seeing a pillar of light emerge from the Kunlun mirror, he understood that this unformed spatial realm only shielded the laws of space. It didn't block the laws of heaven and earth origin chi and other laws. Spells, spirit artifacts, and the like could still be used. However, this saint is still a little puzzled. The profound armored pentahorn dragon asked in confusion. Xiao Hua, this saint thought that it was flawless, but why did it seem like you had already predicted that we would join forces to kill you when we entered the space just now? Moreover, you already knew that we would join hands to ambush you, but you still dared to come in? Could it be that you didn't expect such a strange space? Or do you think you can kill the 3 of us? Humph. Is there a need to say? Grand Mist Ancestor sneered coldly. Who would have thought that there would be such a miraculous place in the world? Moreover, he was just suspecting that if there really was a passageway, he could still be his savior. In this world, some people only cared about benefits, and some people only cared about fame. Moreover, fame was also a form of faith. What Namo great merciful Bodhisattva Shireen Bodhisattva? Disdain grew in Xiao Hua's heart when he saw the Grand Mist Ancestor acting like a mad dog. He sneered. This Xiao dared to come in because I have confidence. It's just 3 peak 9th level essence force opponents. This Xiao is confident that he can deal with them. As for my suspicions, I already knew that there was a conspiracy going on not long after the nether demonic dragon spider entered the spatial tunnel. How is that possible? The nether demonic dragon spider exclaimed in shock. How did you find out? That's right, that's impossible. The Grand Mist Ancestor sneered. If you've discovered it, why didn't you act earlier? Do you have to be surrounded by the 3 of us before you make a move? Could it be that you're an idiot? The 3 of you weren't together at all. Grand Mist Brat was watching this Xiao, and the 2 demonic beast race great saints were leading the way. This Xiao was afraid that killing Grand Mist Brat would scare the 2 great saints away. Xiao Hua rubbed his nose and chuckled. Moreover, this Xiao has the confidence to kill the 3 of you. Why should I be in a hurry? If there really is some kind of spatial tunnel, and the 3 of you can't deal with it, it doesn't mean that this Xiao can't, right? You also have a spatial divine ability? The nether demonic dragon spider suddenly understood and cried out. Hee, not bad. Xiao Hua laughed. When we entered the spatial tunnel, although there was endless devil chi surging out, this Xiao already discovered that the spider sage seemed to be leading us in circles. The spatial maze outside this spatial tunnel isn't that big. Moreover, this Xiao also discovered a lot of vague spider silk aura in the spatial tunnel. This aura definitely isn't the spider silk that the spider sage used to lead the way. How is that possible? The black-armored pentacorn dragon exclaimed in shock. This sage was trying to cover up to this point. The black-armored pentacorn dragon immediately shut up. Obviously, it knew that it had let the cat out of the bag. Yes, I don't know where the dragon sage got so much devil chi from. It must be to cover up the spider silk aura in the spatial tunnel. This Xiao didn't think that such a huge spatial maze was set up by the spider sage. It also gave this Xiao the illusion that this spatial tunnel could really lead to the demon realm. Of course, it's also because this Xiao knew that this spatial maze was set up by the spider sage that I didn't make a move. How did you discover it? The nether demonic dragon spider really didn't understand. Among the 7 sages, the flying feather void beast was proficient in spatial escape techniques and had an extraordinary understanding of the spatial laws. He knew that his spatial divine ability was a gift that far surpassed the flying feather void beast. This was a secret that the flying feather void beast didn't know. But who would have thought that Xiao Hua could see through it so clearly? Moreover, Xiao Hua looked around the entire space and said, "The aura in this space, that is to say, the aura that leaked into the spatial tunnel, isn't the aura of the demon realm at all." This Xiao also knew that this spatial tunnel couldn't lead to the demon realm. So, Taoist Xiao has already been to the demon realm? The Grand Mist Ancestor asked with a fake smile. Then why didn't Taoist Xiao announce the spatial tunnel? This Xiao has never been to the demon realm. Xiao Hua was still calm as he replied, "But this Xiao knows the aura of the demon realm." Many thanks for answering this saint's question, Xiao Longshi. The profound armored pentahorn dragon laughed. This saint will ask the spider sage to be gentler when devouring Xiao Longshi's nascent soul and let Xiao Longshi leave this world quietly. Oh right, this saint also wanted to tell Xiao Longshi that the spider sage's body has the power of the netherworld and will devour Xiao Longshi's soul. Xiao Longshi doesn't need to think about reincarnation. Even if Xiao Longshi is the Buddhist sect's Namo Merciful Guanyin Bodhisattva. Of course, when Xiao Longshi leaves this world, this saint will thank you again. Thank you for giving this saint a chance to heal. To be honest, this saint underestimated your strength before. Haha, you're welcome. Xiao Hua laughed loudly, and then he waved his hand and said, "In this Xiao's eyes, all of you are also on the last journey. Not to mention this Xiao injured that brat Hongmeng and Dragon Saint. Even if all of you were unharmed, all of you are absolutely not a match for this Xiao. Donate it, and thank you for all of your support." Chapter 47-29. Seeing Xiao Hua's calm demeanor, the suspicious Grand Mist Ancestor couldn't help but grumble inwardly. He really couldn't understand how Xiao Hua could bring Heavenly Being and Lightning Master here when he couldn't activate the Kunlun Paradise. Moreover, he knew very well that it was impossible for Lightning Reverend to come here. Similarly, according to the news he received, Celestial and Reverend Yun were also in the Fortune Gate. Xiao Hua had really come here alone. The Grand Mist Ancestor was puzzled, but the black-armored Pentaceratops sneered coldly. Dragon Chi surged around its body, and Devil Chi seeped out from within the Dragon Chi. Dragon Chi and Devil Chi condensed into a barrier that gradually filled the space. Sensing the dangerous Devil Chi around the black-armored Pentaceratops closing in, Xiao Hua sneered and said, "You're just a mutated devil dragon whelp. How dare you call yourself a dragon saint? From now on, the Great Temple will no longer have the name Black-Armored Pentaceratops. Archdevil Venerable Shi, I'll leave this little thing to you." Following Xiao Hua's voice, "Woo woo." A series of ghostly wails and howls came from Xiao Hua's body, and then a large amount of devil chi rushed out from Xiao Hua's body. This devil chi was 100 times purer than the Black-Armored Pentaceratops' devil chi. Ga. Devil chi rushed out from Xiao Hua's body and condensed in midair. Archdevil Venerable Shi laughed loudly as he revealed his true body. He looked at the black-armored Pentaceratops and mocked. "Little devil dragon, you dare to use devil chi in front of me. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth, ah." Mo. Archdevil Venerable? Sensing the sharp devil chi around Archdevil Venerable Shi, the black-armored Pentaceratops turned pale with fright. He shouted in disbelief. You, Xiaohua! Grand Mist Ancestor roared. You're a human, huh? You dare to collude with the devil race? What are your intentions? Ha ha! Hearing the Grand Mist Ancestor's shameless reprimand, Xiaohua threw his head back and laughed loudly. He raised his hand and pointed at the black-armored pentaceratops, saying, All of you have dirty thoughts, wanting to kill me here. Your hearts are worse than the devil races. What qualifications do you have to criticize this old man? Xiaohua's smile disappeared as he went on coldly. However, since you're already here, this Xiao might as well tell you that although he is a devil clan member, he is my Fortune Gate's 9th old master. What? Xiaohua's ancestor shurs, pentaceratopses and netherworld demonic dragon spiders. They exclaimed He's the 9th elder? Fortune Gate. There are 9 TS? That. There was, SS des, SSS guess, tis teat, S, TT, S, STTS, STS 9s, TTTS woos sexa said, S, TTTTS sex gate whose. Xiaohua couldn't be bothered to waste his breath on them. He slapped his own head and said, Fellow Taoist Wu, please make your move. Humph. Taoist which rushed out of Xiaohua's body with a low growl that sounded like the groan of a ghost. As soon as Taoist which landed in the air, he stared at the nether demonic dragon spider and said coldly, You're just a blood spider born in the nether blood sea. You only had the chance to step into the heavenly Tao because you obtained devil chi and dragon breath by chance. Since you've become a demonic beast race's great saint, you should obediently shrink your tail and cultivate diligently. Only then can you live up to the heavens' blessing. Since you've met I today, it's time for you to face your tribulation. The netherworld demonic dragon spiders trembled when they sensed the soul cultivator's aura. They screamed, Which Fortune Gate sect master are you? I am Taoist Wu. Taoist Wu said indifferently, I'm the Fortune Gate's 6th elder. How did you bring these people into the space? The Grand Mist Ancestor's face was as white as a sheet of paper, and he couldn't help but ask. He had planned and schemed to kill Xiaohua here and now, but he had never imagined that his scheme would be as useless as floating clouds in front of Xiaohua. He also understood why Xiaohua didn't kill him outside the space. It was because Xiaohua had full confidence in dealing with them. Why should a person who's about to die know so much? Xiaohua said as he waved his hand. A lightning hand several mu in size fell and firmly covered the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor. The demon Venerable Shur flew out from Xiaohua's bloodline and landed in front of the profound armored pentagonal dragon with a nasty smile. The profound armored pentagonal dragon was shocked. It cried out involuntarily, and the enchantment it activated shook slightly. However, it only lasted for a short while. The profound armored pentacorn dragon gritted his teeth. Boom! Devil chi shook and dragon chi rumbled. The barrier covered nearly 100 li of space. Strands of devil chi flickered in the space and dragon chi swam like a dragon, completely controlling the archdevil slayer. However, the profound armored pentacorn dragon was still nervous. Even though the archdevil slayer couldn't move his body, and even the devil chi and devil flames on the surface of his body were stagnant, and the ferocious devils and blood shadows were frozen like clay statues, Archdevil Slayer had a mocking smile on his face. His seemingly motionless gaze pierced through space and pierced the profound armored pentacorn dragon's heart. Damn it! The profound armored pentacorn dragon didn't like this feeling. He cursed and raised his dragon claw to tap on the barrier. Crack, crack. As the profound armored pentacorn dragon's dragon claw fell, the entire barrier shattered inch by inch. The cracks were more terrifying than any weapon in the world as they attacked the Archdevil Slayer's body. Ha ha ha! The Archdevil Slayer couldn't help but laugh when he saw the countless cracks approaching. He opened his mouth. Whoa! The barrier that had already condensed into a crystal suddenly produced a whistling sound. All the devil chi within the barrier suddenly turned into cotton and broke through the barrier, landing on the surface of the Archdevil Slayer's body. Oh! At the same time, the devils and blood shadows on the surface of the Archdevil Slayer's body roared crazily. Waves of strange sound waves emitted from the Archdevil Slayer's body. Not only did they shatter the barrier, they even blocked the incoming cracks. Roar! The Archdevil Slayer had just broken free. He immediately roared and turned into a whirlwind as he pounced on the profound armored pentacorn dragon. As the demonic wind approached, The devil chi around the profound armored pentacorn dragon seemed to be attracted and stood up. Like hair blown by the wind, strands of demonic chi left the dragon's body and merged with the archdevil slayer's body. Chapter 47:30. The profound armored pentahorn dragon became even more frightened. It had never met such a powerful opponent before. However, the profound armored pentahorn dragon also roared angrily. It waved its dragon body and extended its dragon claws. The dragon tattoos on its body began to show their might. The dragon claws were about to tear the void apart as they clawed at the demon sovereign. Boom boom boom. The demon sovereign and the profound armored pentahorn dragon collided. Countless explosions sounded as the dragon claws flew everywhere. The demon sovereign's body was torn apart. Pieces of the demon sovereign's body were mixed with demon chi and scattered in the air. At the same time, the scales on the profound armored pentahorn dragon's body were ripped off by the demon sovereign. The dragon tattoos were also tainted by the black demon chi. What was special was that the demon sovereign's body was like a hurricane that gradually wrapped around the profound armored pentahorn dragon's body. Black ropes formed strange demon tattoos that covered the profound armored pentahorn dragon's body. Shwa! The profound armored pentadragon's tail swung and shattered a small part of the demon sovereign's body. The demon tattoos that formed on the tail were also scattered. The profound armored pentahorn dragon did not dare to be careless. It waved its dragon claws to tear apart the demon chi that wrapped around its body. Then it raised its head and roared angrily. Roar! Its body emitted a black light. This light was like thousands of small dragons that rushed out from the profound armored pentadragon's body and supported the demon sovereign's body. Seeing that it had broken free from the demon sovereign, the profound armored pentadragon's body suddenly shrunk and flew out from the demon chi. Haha, little demon dragon. The demon sovereign's face appeared from the demon chi and laughed. I haven't played enough yet. How can you run away? Wait until I peel off your demon dragon scales one by one. As he spoke, the demon sovereign turned into a huge demon palm and pounced on the profound armored pentadragon. The profound armored pentadragon was still in shock. How could it let the demon sovereign get close to it? It hurriedly opened its mouth. Roar! A dark light was spat out from its mouth. A powerful dragon breath landed and a dragon core that was several feet in size flew out. Once the dragon pellet appeared, a rich dragon aura immediately shrouded the entire area. This dragon aura contained the power of heaven and earth. Demon Master Shi's demon body immediately trembled, and the demon aura around his demon body turned into dust. What was special was that an extremely cold chi rushed out of the dragon core. The demon chi and the dragon chi in the cold chi produced different demon spots and dragon patterns. The two different auras landed in the air, and along with the cold chi, they quickly spread throughout the space within 100 miles. This cold air was different from the previous barrier. Every inch it spread, countless crystals would appear, and every inch of crystal was completely different. Seeing that the space was filled with crystals, the dragon core disappeared along with the profound armored pentahorn dragon. Within the 100 li of the ice seal, countless swimming dragons could be seen within the countless crystalline hairs. It was as if every swimming dragon was a mystic armored pentaceratops. Oh! Demon Venerable Shi's devil body was also sealed by the cold of the dragon pellet, but Demon Venerable Shi was not afraid at all. He looked at the crystal hair that was growing nearby with interest, and said with a surprised tone, Little demon dragon, you are quite promising. Not only can you use the dragon core's cold chi to form a dragon array, you can also split the manifested dragon form into countless primordial spirits and fuse them with the dragon array. But this divine ability has already surpassed that Dragon Island's hatred-parting heavenly technique. Humph. The profound armored pentahorn dragon's cold snort came from the countless crystalline hairs. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? If you have the ability, then break this dragon array first. Otherwise, your demon body should be obediently devoured by this saint. Ha ha! Demon Master Shi laughed loudly. If you were to fight with this lord head-on, this lord might be afraid of your dragon body. But now, you actually set up a dragon array in front of this lord. You really don't know how to write the word death. While laughing, Demon Master Shi's body split up again, turning into countless demons. They passed through the space and the dragon array and accurately landed in front of every dragon form. Roar, 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 roar. Waves of demonic roars accompanied the dragon roars. Every dragon form began to tear the demons apart. Countless crystalline hairs were destroyed in this crazy battle, and the space within 100 li began to gradually collapse. In just half a cup of tea's time, 60% of the dragon array was destroyed. The seemingly complicated dragon array was like paper in front of Demon Master Shi, who had devoured a demon spirit. The profound armored pentahorn dragon had only smashed its own foot with a rock. Roar! Seeing that it was no match, the profound armored pentahorn dragon roared angrily. All of the crystalline hairs suddenly shrunk, and the dim dragon core and the incomplete profound armored pentahorn dragon appeared in a corner of the space. Little demonic dragon. Demon Sovereign Shi faced the third great sage of the Great Sage Hall as easily as a cat catching a mouse. Seeing the profound armored pentahorn dragon's body tremble, he smiled and said, "Don't struggle. Let this sovereign swallow you. Don't worry, this lord will be gentle, and won't let you feel pain. Oh, I forgot, you don't need to think about reincarnation. This lord will eat bones without spitting out dregs, and your soul is also an excellent supplement." Looking at this terrifying demon master, the profound armored pentahorn dragon was powerless. The demon clan's methods that it was so proud of were just child's play in front of Demon Master Shi. The dragon array that it had painstakingly cultivated for God knows how many years was an insurmountable moat in front of other demon clans and humans. However, in the eyes of Demon Master Shi, it was just a small river that could be easily crossed. Other than its dragon body, the profound armored pentahorn dragon had no other methods to resist Demon Master Shi's devouring. Roar! This saint will fight it out with you. The profound armored pentahorn dragon roared angrily. Its dragon body suddenly rushed out, and its dragon horn glowed once again as it pounced towards Demon Master Shi. You see, you've run out of tricks." Demon Master Shi ridiculed. "You think this lord can't break your dragon body?" Ouch! Damn it, just as Demon Master Shi was ridiculing, something strange happened. On the profound armored pentahorn dragon's dragon horn, a crackling sound came out, and the flower-like dragon horn suddenly exploded. When the surface of the dragon horn cracked like a molting shell, a horn similar to that of a Pegasus was revealed. The moment this horn appeared, a vast and holy aura rushed out, turning into a sharp beam of light that pierced into Demon Master Shi's heart in the blink of an eye. Pa pa pa! Wherever the holy beam of light passed, all of the demon chi was wiped out, all of the demons were killed, and the torrential bloodlight on Demon Master Shi's body instantly dried up. How is this possible? This time, it was Demon Master Shi's turn to be shocked. He exclaimed, "How can you have so many variations? How can you combine demon chi and holy chi in one body? Give it as a reward, and thank you for all of your support." Chapter 47-31. Demon Lord Shi was shocked. His demonic body was even faster than the wind as he fled into the distance. He wanted to dodge the light pillar that pierced his heart. Unfortunately, the holy light pillar was like Demon Lord Shi's nemesis. Demon Lord Shi instantly fled 100 miles away, while the light pillar chased after him for 100 miles without any hesitation. Finally, with a loud boom, the light pillar still hit Demon Lord Shi's body. However, it was at this moment that Demon Lord Shi barely dodged the attack. The light pillar only caused the right half of his body to collapse. Not only that, the holy light pillar was like a flame that landed on Demon Lord Shi's body and ignited it. Pure white sparkling sparks crazily flew towards Demon Lord Shi's broken body. Damn it! Damn it! What kind of technique is this? Demon Lord Shi roared. He really didn't expect the mystic armored Pentaceratops to have such an unexpected technique. Seeing Demon Lord Shi injured by the holy light pillar, and that Demon Lord Shi's demon chi and scarlet flames were no match for the holy sparks, the mystic armored Pentaceratops revealed a smile. The horn glowed with pure white light again. The broken dragon body tried its best to fly toward Demon Master Shi, wanting to give him a fatal blow. Unfortunately, before the profound armored pentahorn dragon could get close, the demon lord suddenly spat out a 7-colored spiritual fire from his mouth. Wherever the 7-colored spiritual fire landed, the holy sparks were immediately extinguished. In fact, even more sparks were devoured by the spiritual fire. The mystic armored Pentaceratops was dumbfounded. He couldn't care less about killing Demon Lord Shi anymore. "Since you're here, there's no need for you to leave," Demon Lord Shi sneered. He suddenly stood still in midair. With a wave of his left hand, the demon blade murder appeared in his hand. Wang wang. A loud buzzing sound came from the demon blade murder. An unparalleled killing intent rushed out from the demon blade murder. That monstrous shadow covered the entire sky. With a wave of the demon blade murder, a pitch-black blade light not only split the void, but also split the holy light pillar in half. What was special was that when the beam of light was split apart, the entire beam of light was split into two halves. On the other side of the beam of light, the holy horn of the mystic armored pentaceratops was also split into two halves. Furthermore, when the saber light landed on the mystic armored pentaceratops' body, its flesh began to crack. Roar! The mystic armored pentaceratops roared in pain. Its dragon body suddenly burst open, and a blood-red dragon shadow rushed into the dragon core in its body. The dragon core also shattered, and a dragon image was born from the dragon core and dragon shadow. Not good. Seeing the dragon form, ripples appeared in the void. Demon Lord Shur immediately understood that the mystic armored pentaceratops knew that it was no match for him, and had already abandoned its dragon body, preparing to use its primordial spirit to escape into the void. And at this time, Devil Saber Shur's saber shadow had just passed. Even if Devil Sovereign Shur teleported over, he probably wouldn't be able to block the dragon manifestation primordial spirit. What was special was that the mystic armored pentaceratops' primordial spirit actually had some holy brilliance, which could actually block Devil Saber Shur's devouring. Just as the dragon manifestation primordial spirit of the mystic armored pentaceratops was about to escape, a thunderous rumble came from outside the space. A suppression comparable to the power of heaven and earth was born, and instantly controlled the entire space. This suppression was so powerful that not only Demon Lord Shur couldn't block it, but even the dragon manifestation primordial spirit that was about to disappear was forced out, and was still revealed. As for the nether demonic dragon spider, facing Taoist Witch, an indescribable fear arose from the bottom of its heart. Taoist Witch exposed its origin, and it even made the nether demonic dragon spider's entire body tremble. In its heart, it knew that its true form was a blood spider. This was an absolute secret that even the mystic armored pentaceratops didn't know. But today, it was seen through with a single glance. It really didn't know how to face such a terrifying opponent like Taoist Witch. However, the nether demonic dragon spider only trembled for a moment, and the scattered aura around its body began to become orderly, and even felt like it was condensing into steel. After all, he was a great saint of the demon race. He had cultivated from a lowly blood sea soul beast to the 1,000-demon sacred realm. The price he had paid and the amount of time he had spent was not something Taoist Witch could understand. It had always followed the mystic armored pentaceratops' lead, not because it was afraid of the mystic armored pentaceratops, but because it wanted to use the demonic chi and prestige of the mystic armored pentaceratops to cover its own brilliance, so that the other great saints of the demonic clan would overlook its origin and its secret. All these years, it had done extremely well. Not only did Xianxia and the other humans not care about the nether demonic dragon spider, but even the Golden Rock didn't care about the nether demonic dragon spider. At this time, the nether demonic dragon spider's true body had been exposed by Taoist Witch. The nether demonic dragon spider already had the intention to kill Taoist Witch, the mystic armored pentaceratops, and Xianxia. Woo-woo! A mournful cry emerged from the nether demonic dragon spider's mouth as it blew out a gust of blood sea wind. When the gust of blood sea wind landed in the air, it immediately turned into nether chi. Like a raging wave, the withering aura of death enveloped the surrounding 50 kilometers. When Taoist Witch saw that the nether demonic dragon spider's body had such a pure blood sea wind, he couldn't help but frown. In fact, Xianxia was the most suitable person to deal with the nether demonic dragon spider. However, Taoist Witch glanced at Xianxia, who was fighting with the Grand Mist Ancestor. He smiled faintly and said, "Little blood spider, before I take action, I want to advise you one last time. Everything you did today should be the Grand Mist Ancestor and the Mystic Armored Pentaceratops orders. You're just being used by them, and you can only be considered an accomplice. With Taoist Zhao's benevolence, he might not kill you. Do you remember? Before entering the space, Taoist Zhao even bowed to you. At that time, he wanted to remind you. Even though you didn't understand at that time, you're still a little stubborn. Then, I will say one more thing. If you stop now, I won't make a move either. We'll just wait at the side, And after the Grand Mist Ancestor and the Mystic Armored Pentaceratops are killed, we'll leave this space together. From then on, you'll still be the demonic beast race's great sage, and Taoist I and Taoist Xiao will still be the Fortune Gate's old masters. We'll pretend that nothing happened today. This great sage isn't good at arguing. You don't have to think about convincing this great sage to surrender without a fight. When the nether demonic dragon spider saw that Taoist which was surrounded by the nether demonic dragon spider, he calmed down and sneered. Moreover, at this point, it's just as Taoist Xiao said, the map is already laid bare. How can it end so easily between us? AI, all right. Taoist witch sighed and said, I don't need to say anything more. Since you've already made a choice, you'll have to bear the consequences of your choice. You don't even know what I am. You also don't know where Taoist Zhao's bottom line is. Donate it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4732. Hee. The nether demonic dragon spider snickered. It doesn't matter what your bottom line is. What's important is that you can't tell anyone about me. As he spoke, the space within 100 miles around Taoist Witch and the nether demonic dragon spider suddenly rippled like a space storm. The ripple tore open the space nearby, and a strange chi of heaven and earth rushed out. Taoist Witch was stunned, and he quickly reached out to grab it. A lightning hand formed by the three corpses in thunder fell, trying to seal the space within 100 miles. Crack! The moment the three corpses in thunder was formed, the strange chi of heaven and earth landed on it. The dark green lightning instantly exploded, and pieces of it fell from the giant hand. That's weird. Taoist which was slightly taken aback. He didn't understand what the nether demonic dragon spider was doing. He quickly opened his mouth and performed the lightning flashes and thunder rolls technique. Countless thumb-sized green seal characters rushed out like soldiers, filling up the space within 100 miles. Then, there was an obscure sound. Rumble. The entire space was filled with lightning, shattering all the chi of heaven and earth. Humph, watch me. Taoist Witch snorted when he saw that the lightning flashes and thunder rolls technique was effective. He opened his mouth again, preparing to use the green seal characters. However, it was also at this moment that the sound of silkworms spitting silk rang out. In the void that had just been torn open, endless black spider silk mixed with a serene green grew out again. The spider silk was like tens of millions of fingers, falling in mid-air. The space near the spider silk, which was the size of a palm, instantly collapsed. The tens of millions of spider silk naturally caused the entire space to collapse. Layers of turbulent space energy swept everything and rushed towards Taoist Witch. Damn it! Taoist Witch felt the destructive power rushing towards him and cursed. This guy's methods are too sinister. If it was a one-on-one fight, even the mystic armored Pentaceratops might not be his match, let alone the flying feather void beast. However, Taoist Witch didn't panic. He chanted the green seal characters, and his entire body gradually changed. A moment later, Jianghu, who had the face of a human and the body of a bird, with 4 wings and 6 claws on its back, appeared. As soon as Jianghu appeared, it flapped its 4 wings, and tens of thousands of space vortexes instantly appeared, rushing towards the overwhelming space collapse. Boom! 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 The spatial vortex collided with the spatial collapse. Like a flood meeting magma, a huge boom rang out in the void. Let alone 100 kilometers, even the space within 1,000 kilometers shook violently. Jianghu's body swayed and created layers of phantoms. Layers of space ripples rippled out in all directions. Ouch! An indescribable roar came from Jianghu's throat. Jianghu's body pierced through layers of space airwaves and went against the flow. The 6 claws around him disappeared into the void. Naturally, the spatial ripples also affected the nether demonic dragon spider. The nether demonic dragon spider's body began to distort rapidly, as if it was about to be torn apart. Dark green light flashed around the nether demonic dragon spider as it tried its best to stabilize its body. At the same time, huge grayish-black vortexes appeared around the demonic dragon spider, and Jianghu's 6 claws reached out from the vortexes, covering the demonic dragon spider's body. The claws flashed with a murderous aura, and they pierced through space and landed on the demonic dragon spider's body. If this is what you've got. The demonic dragon spider's body was suppressed, and it couldn't even move. However, it didn't seem to be afraid, and it said coldly, What right do you have to stop me from breaking through space? Following the nether draconic spider's words, one of its tentacles flicked slightly, and an extremely thin spider web suddenly appeared. As the spider web was gently raised, countless intertwined spider webs appeared within 100 miles of the collapsed space. Jianghu's 6 claws, 4 wings, and even the giant sorcerer god were all covered by the spider web. Unbelievable! Taoist sorcerer was shocked. He didn't expect the nether demonic dragon spider's ability to be so amazing. The spider silk that had just appeared was mixed in with the spatial collapse, and he was trapped by it without noticing it at all. Taoist sorcerer's shock didn't end there. Before he could use his divine ability to block it, the countless spider webs trembled slightly, and Jianghu's 6 claws that were falling on the demonic dragon spider shattered instantly. The spider web was sharper than a sword. As the spider web trembled, Jianghu's 4 wings and body began to crack, and Taoist sorcerer's body was about to be cut into pieces. Not only that, but the space within 100 miles was also about to be cut into pieces by the spider web. Too powerful! Taoist sorcerer exclaimed, and he hurriedly took a deep breath. His entire body shrunk rapidly, and at the same time, a bright green color appeared on his abdomen. The green color was like a seed that sprouted rapidly. When Taoist sorcerer's body shrunk and met the green color, there was a muffled boom, and Taoist sorcerer's body transformed into the torch dragon form again. So what if you transform again? The demonic dragon spider's cold voice was like a gust of cold wind. As long as you don't escape from my spider web domain, you won't be able to escape death. Haha, try me then. The torch dragon wasn't afraid of the spider web at all. Its body suddenly expanded, and not only did it charge toward the spider web, but its huge tail also transformed in the air and smashed toward the demonic dragon spider. The spider web landed on the torch dragon as expected, but the outcome this time was beyond the demonic dragon spider's expectations. Crack, crack, crack. The incredibly sharp spider web was broken by the torch dragon's body, and even more spider web was torn apart by its tail. A huge wave of air surged and landed on the demonic dragon spider's body. No, this is the Duanmu family's god-fiend puppet. The demonic dragon spider suddenly realized and exclaimed when it saw the spider web break inch by inch like broken cotton in the wind. Unfortunately, Taoist Witch didn't respond at all. The huge tail that landed on the demonic dragon spider's body was Taoist Witch's answer. Boom! The demonic dragon spider's entire body was flattened. It seemed that the demonic dragon spider's body that had been refined for countless years was no match for the god-fiend puppet. However, the moment its body was flattened, several spatial ripples appeared on the demonic dragon spider's tentacles. Although it was difficult for the demonic dragon spider, it still managed to escape from the torch dragon's tail. Little blood spider. Taoist Witch didn't force it and said coldly, "Lay down your butcher's knife and repent." However, before Taoist Witch could finish his sentence, the nether demonic dragon spider appeared in another spot. Furthermore, as the nether demonic dragon spider emitted nether demonic aura from its abdomen, a foul wind suddenly blew. Above the previously shattered space, another strange domain was suddenly formed. It was as if there was a ghost in every inch of space within this domain, and every ghost was howling in agony. Taoist Witch felt as if he had fallen into the depths of a sea of blood, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of fear that made him lose his soul. Give it a recommendation vote, bookmark it, or tip it. Thank you for all your support. Chapter 4733. Damn it! Taoist Witch's eyes flashed with a dark green light as he saw the situation within the domain clearly. His expression changed as he cursed, "Taoist Xiao, you've misjudged me." This was because the space within 100 miles of Taoist Witch was densely filled with all sorts of demon clan souls. These souls were completely red as if they had been sacrificed. Furthermore, these souls seemed to be moving randomly within the space, but every inch of space produced an inexplicable force. When these forces mixed together, they formed a force that even Taoist Witch couldn't resist, binding Taoist Witch tightly. Wasn't this the sole force that Taoist Witch had been comprehending in seclusion? Taoist Witch didn't expect to see the embryonic form of this soul force in the 3 continents. Of course, Taoist Witch had seen all kinds of souls and knew clearly that these were the demons and humans that the nether demonic dragon spider had killed on its way to becoming a great sage. It was inevitable that he would be angry. The nether demonic dragon spider's soul power realm was indeed strange. It could even be said that ordinary people couldn't break it at all. However, to Taoist Witch, who already knew and began to explore soul power, it was no longer a hopeless situation. Xianxia, who was far away, already knew that Taoist Witch was enraged. Without hesitation, he ordered Taoist Witch in his heart, killed. Seeing that Taoist Witch was trapped, the nether demonic dragon spider sneered in his heart. A dark green light condensed around his body, and a crimson-red blood spider primordial spirit appeared in the light. The blood spider primordial spirit looked left and right, and a bloody aura swept across the trapped Taoist Witch, Xiaohua, Archdevil Shur, and the black-armored Pentaceratops. Then, the blood spider primordial spirit flew out of the light, and the dark green light shot up into the sky like a pillar of light. Pa! The blood spider primordial spirit landed on a certain spot in the soul force realm, which was also the eye of the inexplicable soul formation. A clear sound like glass shattering was heard as the blood spider primordial spirit's soul force landed on it. When the soul force entered the soul formation, it immediately turned into several strands and passed through different points of the soul formation. It grew rapidly, and in the end, it formed several boundless forces that pounced towards Taoist Witch. Although these strands of soul force hadn't gathered, Taoist Witch could already feel the mysterious power that could destroy heaven and earth and souls. Taoist Witch's body couldn't merge with the torch dragon god demon puppet anymore, and he floated out of the puppet like a fallen leaf. His frail body was like an ant in front of the enormous power. However, he didn't panic, and he said coldly, "Heaven and earth has its own primordial force, and it doesn't care about good or evil, good or evil, good or evil. It doesn't matter if it's life or death or life or death or death or life or death. If the heart of the heart, demonic life, life, evil, 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 evil life, life, death, death life, death, 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 death. Reincarnation. Rain reincarnation. Witch life and death, 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 death's demonic. If you don't understand the true meaning of power and only know the power of power, you'll only be able to scratch the surface in the end. You'll only be able to put yourself on the brink of reincarnation between life and death." As he spoke, Taoist Witch reached out his hand elegantly, and Ye Pen appeared in his hand. Ye Pen was different from before, and the tip of the pen flashed with emerald light like a blooming star. "I may be weak, but my heart is firm. My Tao may be weak, but my wish is great." Taoist Witch's mouth formed a green seal script, and he chanted softly, "I'm willing to exchange my life for the death of the world. I'm willing to use my heart to summon the lost souls." As Taoist Witch chanted, Ye Pen casually pointed at a spot in the nameless soul formation. Swoosh! A speck of emerald light appeared from the soul formation, and the ferocious roaring soul immediately calmed down. A speck of emerald light appeared from the soul. Under normal circumstances, Ye Pen's soul power alone would be enough to allow the wandering soul to reincarnate. However, it was obvious that the soul was incomplete, and it would be difficult for it to reincarnate. However, this didn't affect Ye Bai's soul power at all. Like a spring breeze, the space within 100 miles was instantly filled with greenery as countless wandering souls calmed down. The soul power that had been forcefully extracted by the nether demonic dragon spider was completely wiped out by Taoist Wu's method of removing the firewood from under the cauldron. No. No way. The nether demonic dragon spider was so shocked that its most mysterious method was destroyed by Taoist Witch. At this moment, the emerald light from the nameless soul formation had already landed on the nether demonic dragon spider's body. As the emerald light appeared on the nether demonic dragon spider's body, the specks of dark marks of the nether exploded, and pieces of the nether demonic dragon spider's body collapsed. Putrid green liquid also seeped out of the nether demonic dragon spider's body. Damn it! The blood spider's primordial spirit cursed under its breath. It wanted to rush back to its body, but the vigorous life force blocked it once again. The blood spider's primordial spirit struggled several times but was unable to return. In the end, it sighed and said, "Forget it." The several tentacles of the blood spider's primordial spirit swayed, and an inexplicable space rippled, covering its primordial spirit. It was about to disappear. Taoist Witch was helpless when he saw this. The nether demonic dragon spider's innate space ability wasn't something he could compare to. If he wanted to block the nether demonic dragon spider's primordial spirit, he had to transform into Jianghu's body. However, a sudden change occurred. The suppression comparable to the heaven and earth's energy covered the sky, controlling the entire space. The blood spider's primordial spirit was also squeezed out of the nether demonic dragon's primordial spirit, appearing motionless. Moreover, the suppression didn't stop there. After crushing the space, it rushed out of the space once again. Xiaohua knew that the Grand Mist Ancestor's invitation was most likely a trap, so he was prepared. Moreover, he also understood that the Kunlun Paradise's secret had been exposed. If the Grand Mist Ancestor wanted to kill him, he would definitely consider finding a way to restrain the Kunlun mirror. Of course, Xiaohua had encountered a situation where he couldn't sense anything when the space was blocked. Therefore, before he rushed over to meet the Grand Mist Ancestor, Xiaohua had ordered Taoist Witch and Archdevil Venerable Shi to escape from the space and hide in his body. Xiaohua's worst-case scenario came true. The nether demonic dragon spider with the innate space ability actually found a place that could block space, and really blocked the Kunlun Paradise. Facing 3 peak 9th grade Essence Force opponents, Xiaohua calmly released Taoist Witch and Archdevil Venerable Shi. Since Xiaohua had invited Archdevil Venerable Shi out, he naturally planned to kill the 2 demonic beast race great saints and the Grand Mist Ancestor. Looking at the Grand Mist Ancestor's pale face, Xiaohua sneered coldly. With a wave of his hand, a lightning palm several mu in size fell, firmly covering the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor. Moreover, the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor was filled with violent lightning energy, tearing at the Grand Mist Ancestor's injured body. Xiaohua wanted to kill the Grand Mist Ancestor. Gift it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-34. The Grand Mist Ancestor narrowed his eyes as he looked at the Archdevil Ancestor Shi and the black-armored Pentaceratops, as well as Taoist Wu and the nether demonic dragon spider. He raised his hand and clapped. Boom! A black and white giant hand appeared. Wherever the giant hand passed, all the lightning energy was erased. Even when the giant hand clashed with Xiaohua's lightning technique, it was not at a disadvantage. Rumble. The lightning giant hand collided with the black and white giant hand. Tens of thousands of lightning were annihilated by the black and white light, and the black and white light were also obliterated by the lightning energy. The entire space shook, and countless space fragments drifted down like fragments. Xiaohua was slightly stunned and asked curiously, Grand Mist Brat, so your strength has already reached the peak of 9th grade origin energy? It seems. You have been concealing your strength all this time. The Grand Mist Ancestor's face flushed red as if he was suffering from the backlash of his magic power. He said coldly, When this old man was reigning over the 3 mainlands, I had never seen your shadow. How do you know this old man's strength? To tell you the truth, Xiaohua, you're just lucky. Which part of you can't compare to this old man? Is that so? Xiaohua smiled faintly and stretched out his right hand. His index finger and middle finger joined together, and a sword light split the void and pierced towards the Grand Mist Ancestor. Before the sword light appeared, the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor had already started to emit faint sword light. A series of bubbles had already enveloped the Grand Mist Ancestor. The Grand Mist Ancestor did not seem to panic. His hands moved slightly, and black and white halos appeared on his left and right hands. These halos formed a semicircle and blocked in front of the Grand Mist Ancestor. The halos shuttled back and forth like fish, intertwining black and white, and blocked the sword light. The Grand Mist Ancestor said, When this old man threw you into the West Sea's eye, I never thought that you would come out alive. If this old man had thought a little more and stretched out a finger, you wouldn't be here now. And that's right. If you stretched out an extra finger, you would have saved your life. You are the one who killed your savior. Xiaohua sneered. But speaking up to here, Xiaohua sighed again. Alas, why is this Xiao telling you this? That pitiful Su Zhuoyang, Master Qing Chen, Taoist Leopard, Chu Muhuan, and the others, weren't they your saviors? They died for you, but you don't remember anything. It can also be said that you killed them. Kakaka. The Grand Mist Ancestor laughed maniacally. While he was laughing, Xiaohua's sword chi flew out and hit the black-white light barrier. Although Xiaohua's sword chi was unparalleled, and its power could pierce through space, the black-white light barrier blocked his sword chi in the blink of an eye. Even the sharpness of the sword light was unable to cause a single ripple. Grand Mist Ancestor was extremely pleased with himself as he said, Xiaohua, you're wrong. They didn't die to save me, they died for their greed. However, their souls have already fused with mine, so I'm living for their sake. This was enough to make them proud. Thinking back to all those years ago, I've suffered so much for the sake of the Tao sect's rise. Now, all of this glory has actually fallen onto your head. How can this old man endure this? Think about it again. You were only a nascent soul realm cultivator back then. How dare you set up a bloodsteel in the Bronze Pillar Nation? What qualifications do you have to represent my Tao sect? I've also seen that bloodsteel, and it's just oh. However, those Confucian cultivators actually turned a blind eye to your bloodsteel? If they could suppress me, who was at the Grand Ascension stage, why couldn't they kill you, who was at the 4th grade? Not to mention the Immortal Palace. As long as any one of the 100 schools of thought's literary sages made a move, how could you be where you are today? If you're not lucky, then what is it? Think about it again. Even the sovereigns don't dare to casually approach the Black Ruins Mountain's heavenly prison. You actually managed to survive after falling into it. Not only did you survive, but your cultivation also increased greatly, reaching the 9th grade. At this time, those dogs-hit Confucian cultivators are probably regretting their actions to the point that their intestines turn green. If they want to kill you now, how is it possible? It's fine if your cultivation has improved greatly. But you also have the Kunlun Immortal realm. In the end, those mediocre cultivators were influenced by you, and their cultivation also improved greatly, allowing you to create the Fortune Gate. Fortune Gate, Fortune Gate, what a vulgar name. How can it be compared to my sky-bearing palace? Your Fortune Gate's disciple should be my sky-bearing palace's disciple. With the Fortune Gate, even if Immortal Emperor Go Chen wants to send immortal generals to kill you, he will have to be cautious. He's afraid of getting burned, right? Tell me if you're not lucky, then what is it? I really don't understand. Could it be that you're the Heavenly Tao's illegitimate child? The Grand Mist Ancestor really had a belly full of bitter water, and only now did he pour it out without any fear. His slightly red face actually turned red. Moreover, the black and white halo's power increased greatly. Hearing the Grand Mist Ancestor's words, Xiao Hua couldn't help cursing inwardly. Damn Prince Lon, I'm afraid you've leaked many of my Fortune Gate secrets. The Grand Mist Ancestor even knows the secret of me falling into the heavenly prison. However, Xiao Hua didn't refute. He only narrowed his eyes and looked at the black and white halo in front of the Grand Mist Ancestor. He understood that the Grand Mist Ancestor had refined the Yin Yang illustration handbook and had created a rare defensive technique. Even Immortal Emperor Go Chen couldn't defeat it. This technique was similar to the profound yellow notice of the Tai Ching Palace Master. If Xiao Hua didn't take out some tricks, he wouldn't be able to break through it. Moreover, since the Grand Mist Ancestor had already said what was in his heart, there must be more powerful tricks waiting for Xiao Hua. The Grand Mist Ancestor definitely wouldn't let Xiao Hua walk out of this immature world alive. While thinking, Xiao Hua rubbed his hands again. Streaks of lightning appeared between his hands like flowers blooming. 5 Qi Righteous Lightning, 9 Heavens Divine Lightning, 3 Corpses Yin Lightning, Shenming Devil Lightning, and Triple Light Amplifying Lightning all rushed out at the same time, transforming into a 9-colored lightning hand in front of Xiao Hua. The moment this lightning hand appeared, hundreds of millions of lightning bolts appeared in the air. These lightning bolts were sharper than billions of flying swords. When they fell into the black and white halo, a kind of absolute righteousness, majesty, and justice rushed into the black and white halo. Within the halo, whenever the black and white light came into contact with the 9-colored lightning bolts, they were dyed with a brilliant light, and the black and white colors were swept away. The pressure and justice were irresistible, and in an instant, the black and white halo's defense was destroyed. The lightning hand that broke through the defense was like a fist that broke through a wall. Boom! It landed on the Grand Mist Ancestor's body. Under the tremendous force and majesty, the Grand Mist Ancestor's protective golden light barrier was shattered. The giant hand went straight for the Grand Mist Ancestor's body. Chapter 47-35. Woo-woo. Seeing that the Grand Mist Ancestor was about to die, a strange fluctuation emerged from his body. His body that was originally bound by the lightning hand started to distort and fade. It was as if it was being washed away by a storm and gradually disappeared. Xiao Hua was shocked. He looked at the disappearing lightning hand in disbelief. He had no idea what was going on. Haha, Xiao Hua brat. I didn't expect your strength to be so terrifying. To tell you the truth, if it was before the appearance of the Star Moon Palace, this old man definitely wouldn't be able to dodge your attack. Not far away, the fluctuation appeared again and the Grand Mist Ancestor's voice sounded. It's a pity that this old man has a Xianxia physique. This Xianxia physique is the heavenly Tao, and the heavenly Tao is everywhere. How can you kill this old man? After the appearance of the Star Moon Palace, this old man's heaven-earth realm has reached major completion and even refined the 100 Beasts flag. Why would this old man waste time fighting you one-on-one? Along with the Grand Mist Ancestor's voice, the arrogant expression on his face appeared once again. However, this time, there was a palm-sized flag in his hand. Wasn't this the 100 Beasts flag that the Grand Mist Ancestor had refined in the Star Moon Palace? Humph, you should thank that senior. If he didn't stop me, this Xianxia would have killed you in the Star Moon Palace. Xianxia frowned when he saw that the lightning technique and life and death force were unable to trap the Grand Mist Ancestor. He replied coldly and looked at the 100 Beasts flag. This flag was colorful and its design was very strange. There were many strange beasts embroidered on it. The flag flickered in the clear light, and the numerous beasts flew out as if they were floating in the air. With the 100 Beasts flag in his hand, the Grand Mist Ancestor calmed down and sneered, "Xianxia, your time of death has come. Your good luck has also come to an end. This old man doesn't know how you brought these two cultivators here, but this old man is not afraid to tell you that even if you bring 100 more of them, you won't be able to escape death today." As he spoke, the Grand Mist Ancestor spat out a mouthful of clear air that landed on the 100 Beasts flag. The beasts on the 100 Beasts flag slowly floated into the air, and faint whistling noises could be heard as the aura of the beasts emerged from the flag. Wang wang. The Grand Mist Ancestor's body began to vibrate. Soon after, a white light emerged from the bottom of his feet and turned into a clear stream that rushed into the top of his head. Then, it appeared at the top of his head and turned into 3 clouds. At the same time, a black turbid light emerged from the top of his head and turned into a turbid flow that fell into the gushing spring. Then, it appeared at the gushing spring and turned into 9 hills. His entire body turned illusory again. It was either a star, a mountain, a river, or the land. All kinds of strange phenomena appeared at the illusory spot like flowing lights. Boom! The flowing lights rushed into the swaying 100 Beasts flag in midair. The 100 Beasts flag rumbled loudly, and a pitch-black door appeared as the flag's corners fluttered. Oh! Ear-piercing cries of beasts resounded. Wave after wave of exceedingly powerful auras surged out from the black hole. Then, under Xiaohua's stupefied gaze, a total of 99 exotic beasts spread their wings, swam their bodies, and danced their hooves, surrounding Xiaohua. The appearance of nearly 100 primordial beasts sealed off the space around Xiaohua. Not to mention sight, even divine sense was unable to penetrate through. A ferocious aura that was at the peak of the 9th grade of origin energy gushed out from every single one of the primordial beasts. Their dark green eyes, their large bloody mouths, and their dense white bone spikes were all emitting an aura of annihilation. Seeing Xiaohua's shocked expression, the Grand Mist Ancestor laughed loudly. His figure appeared in the Yin-Yang illustration manual's Heaven and Earth realm. He raised his hand and pointed at Xiaohua. "Xiaohua brat, do you see? This is this emperor's true strength. Think about how ignorant you were at the Longevity Town. Think about how you humiliated this emperor in the Lingyun side hall. This emperor feels disdain from the bottom of his heart. Because this emperor has the absolute strength to kill all of you in an instant. Yet, facing such a strong enemy you still..." Before the Grand Mist Ancestor could finish speaking, Xiaohua's shocked expression slowly disappeared. Without another word, Xiaohua slapped the top of his head. Boom! A pillar of lightning shot into the sky, and 101/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls flew out along with this pillar of lightning. Ah! Seeing more than 108th tribulation scattered nascent souls fly out, and each of them was at the peak of 9th grade origin energy, suppressing the beast's aura, the Grand Mist Ancestor stuttered. What is going on?" Xiaohua smiled faintly and said, "Didn't you say that even if this Xiao brought 100 cultivators with the same cultivation as this Xiao, it would still be difficult to escape death today? I'm sorry, this Xiao just happened to bring 101. How is this possible?" The Grand Mist Ancestor roared, "How can you use the Kunlun Paradise? How can you know the secret of the Kunlun Paradise?" Xiaohua sneered, and then said to the 108th tribulation scattered nascent souls, "Kill." Yes. The 108th tribulation scattered nascent souls answered in unison, and each of them urged the 9th tribulation divine lightning to fight with the beasts. The 99 beasts were also wild and hard to find. Seeing that there was an enemy, they were eager to give it a try, and roared as they pounced over it, seeing 3/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls besieging a single beast, and that beast's originally solid body rapidly dimmed. The Grand Mist Ancestor's heart felt as if it was dripping blood. He roared, "Xiaohua brat, can you be any more despicable?" "Can. Why can't I?" Xiaohua shrugged innocently and said, "If you want to see, this Xiao will let you see." While speaking, Xiaohua once again slaps the top of his head. Boom, boom. 2 soft sounds resound. 2 more 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls fly out and land in front of that prehistoric beast. The 2 scattered nascent souls urge their hands. Puff, puff. Several heavenly flower-like flames descend from the sky and land precisely on that prehistoric beast's body. The prehistoric beast howls in grief and turns into a faint shadow that flies back to the fluttering 100 beasts' flag in midair. Meanwhile, these 5/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls look at each other and, without even looking at each other, they all rush into the battle. This is really despicable and shameless, ah. Damn it, damn it, damn it. The Grand Mist Ancestor was flustered and exasperated. He roared, and his whole body suddenly transformed into a mass of inexplicable stars, pouncing on Xiaohua, and his mouth still shouted, "In that case, die. This emperor will kill you, and all of this will be emperors." Perceiving that inexplicable cluster of stars pressing down like a mountain, a suffocating feeling was born from Xiaohua's body. Not to mention breathing, even his true essence, magic power, and so on were all unable to move a muscle. Chapter 47-36. Xiantian Dao Body? Dao. Dao. Xiaohua suddenly came to his senses, and he frowned as he looked at the star cluster. Hundreds of stars streaked across the sky, and there was a trace of heavenly Dao's aura. Xiaohua rubbed his hands together almost without thinking. Boom! A sound rang out, and a water current as vast as the sea appeared in midair, crazily crashing into the cluster of stars. However, the moment the stream of water came into contact with the starlight outside the star cluster, it collapsed and turned into pure origin energy that fell into the star cluster. Thus, the star cluster's trajectory became clearer. Ha! Grand Mist Ancestor's voice came from the star cluster. "I am Dao, and all magic spells are nothing in front of Dao. My will is the heavenly Dao, and wherever my will passes, all living things will have to face tribulation. Xiaohua, you little brat, quickly face the tribulation." Following Grand Mist Ancestor's words, Xiaohua felt as if the true essence in his body was being grabbed by a giant hand, and it was about to leave his body. However, the moment the true essence passed through his skin, Xiaohua's body produced an unparalleled suction force that firmly locked the true essence in place. Although Xiaohua couldn't circulate his true essence, Grand Mist Ancestor couldn't take it away. What's going on? Grand Mist Ancestor was a little stunned. Xiaohua naturally understood that Grand Mist Ancestor had a Xiantian Dao body, and he had a half-god physique. How could his true essence be taken away by someone with a Xiantian Dao body? Haha! Xiaohua laughed loudly. Grand Mist Ancestor, your Xiantian Dao body is only a... While speaking, Xiaohua raised his hand and slapped the top of his head. Boom! 5-colored true essence rushed out, and Xiaohua's body gradually turned into a sword. In a short moment, a giant 5-colored sword appeared in front of the star cluster. Damn it! Can't we have a good fight? Grand Mist Ancestor was speechless. He had used his Xiantian Dao body to activate the Yin-Yang illustration manual's heaven and earth boundary to restrain Xiaohua's magic power. However, Xiaohua saw that Dao body's magic power was useless and didn't want to play magic with him, and directly used his Confucian Dao body's true essence. Seeing the vast aura on the giant sword and the chains of inscriptions on the tip of the sword, it was fighting against the trajectory of heaven and earth in his star. Grand Mist Ancestor was filled with regret. If he had Immortal Emperor Go Chen's golden throne, he would have been able to kill Xiaohua here. Of course, this was only an assumption. The Grand Mist Ancestor absolutely didn't know that even if he obtained Immortal Emperor Go Chen's golden throne, he wouldn't be 100% sure that he could restrain Xianxia. As long as the Grand Mist Ancestor took out the golden chair, Xianxia would definitely activate the green seal text. If the Grand Mist Ancestor was using a soul armament, then Xianxia was definitely using the power of the moon and stars. As the saying goes, it's never a burden to have more skills. Boom! The giant sword was like a celestial palace. It landed on the cluster of stars that represented the heavenly Tao of Taoism. Countless profoundness was generated from the collision. Space was destroyed and reborn inch by inch. The force was like a flower blooming and withering. Countless lights and shadows were like shattered mirrors that exploded in mid-air. The chains of inscriptions shattered, and the trajectory of the stars shattered. In the space of several hundred zhang, heaven and earth were annihilated, and the imbalance of order actually evolved. Xiaohua's 5 qi unifications had already condensed the will of the 3 flowers. At this moment, he was already at the peak of Confucian cultivation. It was difficult to surpass him. As for the Grand Mist Ancestor, his magic power was even more profound. His understanding of Tao was also difficult for ordinary people to reach. The two of them should have been evenly matched, a match for each other. However, the Grand Mist Ancestor wanted to use the advantage of his innate Tao physique to suppress Xiaohua's physical body. Unfortunately, he encountered a half-god physique. With the half-god physique's giant sword, it was naturally a level higher than the innate Tao physique's heavenly Tao technique. The space between the two of them showed signs of collapsing. Then, strands of human order slowly emerged. It was the tenacity of the human race, but the collapsing heavenly Tao was still silent. The Grand Mist Ancestor's heart thumped. He knew that things were bad. He hurriedly activated his innate Tao physique and rushed towards the 3 clouds and 9 hills. Unfortunately, how could Xiaohua let him do as he wished? Puff! Xiaohua opened his mouth, and a fist-sized sword gourd flew out. Xiaohua didn't need to move at all. The 8th tribulation scattered nascent soul nearest to Xiaohua raised his hand and pointed. Whoosh! 2 rays of spirit-slaying light flew out. One landed on the 3 clouds, and the other landed on the 9 hills. Puff puff! The clouds shattered, the hills collapsed, and the heaven-earth mysterious realm formed by the yin-yang illustration mirror was immediately broken. The Grand Mist Ancestor's figure stopped in midair. He looked at the clear air above his head and the turbid air below his feet in disbelief. He really couldn't understand how the yin-yang illustration mirror, which was indestructible, could be broken so easily. Whoosh whoosh! The Grand Mist Ancestor panicked. Black and white halos appeared around his body again and fell towards the yin-yang illustration mirror. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Around the yin-yang illustration, 10 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls appeared. Before these 10 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls had stabilized themselves, 10 powerful lightning bolts rushed towards the Grand Mist Ancestor from all directions. The Grand Mist Ancestor naturally didn't expect Xiaohua, who had always been abnormally merciful, to suddenly gang up on him. Moreover, these 10 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls were comparable to the peak of the 9th grade. Moreover, the heavenly Tao within his innate Tao physique had already collapsed. Even he couldn't control his magic power. How could he be a match for these 10 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls? The lightning bolts fell, and as expected, the Grand Mist Ancestor's innate Tao physique turned into ashes. He didn't even have time to scream. However, the moment the Grand Mist Ancestor's heavenly Tao physique was destroyed, his primordial spirit swayed and landed on the yin-yang illustration handbook. However, Xiaohua was already prepared. When the 8th tribulation scattered nascent soul made a move, his figure had already teleported to the side of the yin-yang illustration mirror. 9 colored thunderbolts flashed between his hands. Rumble! Amidst the huge tremors, the thunderbolt technique fell, wanting to grab the yin-yang illustration mirror. However, the Grand Mist Ancestor had already entrusted his primordial spirit to the yin-yang illustration mirror. His speed of return was far faster than Xiaohua's lightning hand. Before the 9-colored lightning could grab the yin-yang illustration mirror, the Grand Mist Ancestor's primordial spirit had already disappeared into the mirror. The black and white light on the yin-yang illustration mirror flashed, and it actually broke free from the spirit-slaying origin light and the lightning hand. It rushed into the void and gradually disappeared. The yin-yang illustration mirror was a unique treasure of the three continents. Since the Grand Mist ancestor was willing to cut off all means of retreat, Xiaohua naturally had to stop him. Xiaohua roared, "Not good!" Chapter 47-37. Xiaohua's figure flashed with lightning as he chased after the yin-yang illustration. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A suppression comparable to the power of the heavens and the earth appeared in all directions and controlled the entire space. An extremely familiar aura seeped out from the suppression. 9 continents cauldrons? 9 continents great array? Could it be that the Immortal Palace is laying down the 9 continents great array on the hidden Immortal continent? Xiaohua's figure was also suppressed. He was a little surprised and secretly cried out, "But isn't this space in the 1,000 Demons' sacred realm? How can the 9 continents great array suppress this place?" Xiaohua's figure couldn't move, and the yin-yang illustration mirror was naturally suppressed in the space. The Grand Mist ancestor's panicked face squeezed out from the yin-yang illustration mirror. However, when he saw that Xiaohua and everything in the space couldn't move, he was relieved. The 9 continents great array's suppression didn't stop at all. After crushing the space, it rushed out of the space again. Obviously, it was going to seal the entire land. Hee hee. Xiaohua looked at the Grand Mist ancestor's relaxed expression and sneered. He knew in his heart that he had already refined the 9 continents cauldrons and was familiar with the 9 continents great array. At this time, he didn't dare to act rashly for fear of destroying the array. Once the 9 continents great array was completed, Xiaohua could easily break it with the true qi in his chest. At that time, the Grand Mist ancestor and the others would naturally be beheaded. However, as soon as the suppressive force charged out of space, a wave of chaos arose from the suppressive force. After that, countless broken chains of inscriptions emerged from the void, and they scattered and transformed into countless strands of righteous energy that vanished. The entire space was set off a monstrous space storm, and the seemingly endless boundary disappeared in an instant. In the chaos, Xiaohua sensed the existence of the Shenhua continent again. The moment the boundary restriction went out of control, whoosh! Whether it was the dragon form primordial spirit of the black-armored pentaceratops, the blood spider primordial spirit of the nether demonic dragon spider, or even the yin-yang illustration mirror, they all tore the boundary gap and escaped into it at the same time, about to disappear. Damn it! Xiaohua was furious, but he was extremely helpless. Although his strength was far superior to the 2 demons and he had more than 108th tribulation nascent souls at his disposal, the entire space had gone out of control, and he was powerless to stop the 2 primordial spirits and the yin-yang illustration mirror. Xiaohua was about to fail on the verge of success. Jie. A clear cry that was both familiar and unfamiliar to Xiaohua came from outside the realm. Then he saw that outside the shattered realm, a huge spatial rift was torn open, and 2 colorful wings came out. Then, a familiar demon body squeezed in from the spatial rift. Wasn't this the Great Sage Hall's first Great Sage, the heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix? However, this heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix's aura wasn't as sharp as before. Instead, it was somewhat bloody and vast. It even gave off a soul-piercing killing intent. Fengwu? Why are you here? Daoist Witch looked at the huge phoenix in front of him in a daze and asked in confusion. No, you're not Fengwu. Your aura isn't right. Haha. The monster that looked exactly like Fengwu glanced at Daoist Witch and Demon Sovereign Shi before turning to Xiaohua. He said meaningfully, "Xiaohua, long time no see." Phoenix celestial body? Xiaohua was inexplicably shocked and pleasantly surprised. However, he didn't have to ask further. From the Phoenix celestial body's mind, waves of memories flooded Xiaohua like waves. Fortunately, Xiaohua was experienced in this kind of transfer of memories. He hurriedly entered the space with his mind and transformed into Jade Archive Xiaohua. He sat down cross-legged and received the memories. Jade Archive Xiaohua couldn't help but laugh. Mystic Essence Space? Space Power? Space Rule? Haha, there's a mystic called Yi Jian? Phoenix Celestial Body. Oh no, it should be called Huang Tong. This experience is really mysterious. Xiaohua's mind entered the space, but the Phoenix Celestial Body didn't stop. His eyes were like lightning as he glanced at where the mystic armored pentaceratops and the nether demonic dragon spider disappeared. His 2 phoenix claws reached into the air, and 2 spatial rifts immediately appeared. When the phoenix claws reached in and grabbed out, the dragon manifestation primordial spirit and the blood spider primordial spirit were caught in his hands. "Oh my!" Demon Sovereign Sure was shocked and shouted. "Who are you? Why are you so powerful?" "Haha, I know." Taoist Witch laughed and said, "Isn't this the Fortune Gate's 10th master that fellow Taoist Xiao mentioned?" J. The phoenix celestial body let out a clear cry and opened its mouth. A mouthful of strange demonic chi fell and covered the 2 primordial spirits. Then, under the 2 demonic race great saints' frenzied struggle, the phoenix celestial body easily swallowed the 2 primordial spirits into its stomach. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Taoist Witch praised when he saw that the 2 demonic race great saints' primordial spirits couldn't resist the phoenix celestial body. At this time, Xiao Hua's mind had returned. He raised his hand and grabbed the 100 Beasts flag. With a wave of his hand, he collected the souls of the strange beasts that were killed by the 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls. He shouted, "Huang Tong, can we still catch up to the Grand Mist Ancestor?" "Haha, fellow Taoist, don't worry." The phoenix celestial body laughed and said, "If that primordial spirit's mystic artifact wasn't too powerful, why would fellow Taoist need to make a move?" "Good." Xiao Hua praised. "Fellow Taoists, quickly return to your positions. We'll talk after we kill the Grand Mist Ancestor." "Yes." Everyone responded in unison. Xiao Hua's mind rolled and sent everything in the interface into the space. He then said to Huang Tong, "Fellow Taoist, please." Whoosh. Huang Tong, the phoenix battle body, flapped her wings, and a spatial crack appeared. Xiao Hua followed Huang Tong into the spatial crack. Light and shadow overflowed, and the yin-yang illustration appeared in front of him. Xiao Hua sneered. Without saying a word, he used the fury of thunder. A phantom of the immortal slaying stage appeared in the void and slashed at the yin-yang illustration. Boom. On the yin-yang illustration, the black and white light shattered and the Grand Mist Ancestor's primordial spirit appeared in a panic. "Fellow Taoist Xiao, you and I are originally from the human race. Why are you so anxious to kill each other?" "Chongyu, Prince Lan." Xiao Hua said 2 names indifferently and said to Huang Tong, "Fellow Taoist, you can make your move now." Sigh. Hearing Xiao Hua say Chongyu and Prince Lan's names, the Grand Mist Ancestor knew that his plan in the Fortune Gate had already fallen into Xiao Hua's eyes. He sighed inwardly and wanted to say something, but the phoenix celestial body reached out with its sharp claws. A force that made his bones go soft and his tendons go numb fell through the shattered black and white halo. It actually grabbed his primordial spirit out of the yin-yang illustration. Chapter 4738. This. How is this possible? Grand Mist Ancestor cried out in disbelief. However, Huang Tong had no intention of answering him. She opened her beak and a strange demonic aura descended. Grand Mist Ancestor's primordial spirit instantly fainted and did not move. He was swallowed by Huang Tong in a moment. "Haha!" Xiao Hua clapped his hands and laughed. "Grand Mist Ancestor has finally been killed. I have gotten rid of a big problem." "No." Huang Tong suddenly opened her mouth and said, "This is not the complete primordial spirit from before. This guy is cunning." When he was escaping, he seemed to have used a secret technique of the Tao sect to split a part of his primordial spirit. Now, even I can't detect it. Damn it! Xiao Hua's smile disappeared and he punched his fists. The heavens are unfair. Why do they always let this guy escape? There is always a way out. Huang Tong shrugged her wings and laughed. Fellow cultivator is proficient in space laws and space escape techniques. From here, you should be able to return to Xiao country, right? Xiao Hua asked with a smile. We need to eliminate Grand Mist Ancestor's forces first. We don't want any changes. Huang Tong said proudly, not to mention within the realm, even if it is to cross realms, I can do it. Good. Xiao Hua laughed. Then let's go. Just as Xiao Hua said this, his body suddenly trembled and he was stunned. A moment later he stuttered and asked, You said you can tear open the boundary? Are you sure you have the power to tear the realm? Of course I don't have the power to tear the realm. But does crossing realms require the power to tear the realm? Huang Tong laughed. In the Shenyuan space, as long as there is a realm dimension, I can use space escape techniques from this realm to cross over to other realms. What is a realm dimension? Xiao Hua was puzzled. However, after a moment, he understood and said with some distress, "Oh, I understand. It's the location of the realm. But I don't know the realm dimension of the 10,000 demon realm. The aura of the realm is also possible." Huang Tong smiled and said, "At this moment, fellow Taoist doesn't know what the spatial laws are, and you might not know what the spatial escape technique is. After I return to fellow Taoist's body, after some time, fellow Taoist will naturally have my Shen technique divine ability." Haha, good. Xiao Hua claps his hands and says, "For now, there's no need to say anything more. Let's go to Xiao country first. I will tell you the general situation of the 3 continents later." In just a moment, Huang Tong already knew. He smiled and waved his claw. Another spatial rift appeared and he smiled. "Fellow cultivator, please." Xiao Hua flew out with Huang Tong. Wasn't that where the hidden immortal continent was? Xiao Hua scanned with his divine sense and was immediately overjoyed. Haha, this is the hidden immortal continent, not far from Xiao Empire. Damn it, I was wondering why I couldn't figure out the direction. I thought I was born with no sense of direction. Now it seems that it's because of you. Look, now that you're back, I can immediately recognize the direction. Huang Tong thought for a moment and nodded. That's possible. Because I've always been in the Shenyuan space, cultivating the space law and the space escape technique, I'm very particular about the dimension. Perhaps because I left, I took away your innate ability. All right. Xiao Hua looked proud and cupped his hands. Since I'm here, I'll go over myself and see how it goes. Fellow cultivator, you can go back first. Let I comprehend for a few days. Let's see if your divine abilities are useful. Be careful, Huang Tong said worriedly. Although I'm your clone, I've been away for a long time. Also, those divine abilities from other worlds might not be useful in this world. The special thing is that I am me and you are still you. After a long time, you'll definitely be able to use this divine ability. But after a short time, if you use it recklessly, you'll definitely suffer a backlash and have problems. I have a few clones. I believe you already know. This little bit of caution. I still know. Xiao Hua smiled. I'm just comprehending. When it's time to use it, I still need to rely on you. Go home first. AI. Huang Tong looked at Xiao Hua and didn't speak for a long time. After a while he said, "It's been hundreds of thousands of years. I didn't expect that I'd finally return home." As he spoke, Huang Tong let out a long howl. The sound shook the 9 heavens. The huge wings flapped, and the demon body that was hundreds of feet tall actually pounced into Xiao Hua's body that was only tens of feet tall. Following Huang Tong's return, a kind of tears flowed, a kind of emotion, a kind of eagerness to return home surged in Xiao Hua's heart like a flood. AI, leaving home when young and returning when old, the accent of the hometown has not changed. Xiao Hua couldn't help but think of a poem by Confucian cultivators. He secretly sighed and recited, "I really didn't expect Huang Tong's experience to be so bizarre. I thought that he simply fell into the void that day. Who would have thought that just as he fell into the void, he was sucked into the void crack? At that time, his strength was too weak. He didn't even have 4th grade essence energy. How could he escape from the void crack? As a result, he actually escaped into another world through the void crack. Damn it, Feng Buping's essence soul was actually not completely destroyed. He also left a trace of it in that mystic energy space. Mystic cultivator. What a wonderful cultivation method this was. This boundless world really had all kinds of strange things. Oh, from Huang Tong's memories, that young man called Yi Jian was also a human with fate. He actually had such a magnificent life. Looks like I'm not the only one with good luck in this world. Not to mention Yi Jian. Just the Grand Mist ancestor was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. In the end, he still wasn't completely killed. Who knows what kind of trouble he'll cause in the future? Xiao Hua smacked his lips and flew towards the Xiao Empire. As he flew, he continued to ponder. There are truly too many humans in this world who are born out of luck. However, how many of them can become brilliant stars and hang high in the sky of the human race? The guy who was the most opposite of Yi Jian also fought with Yi Jian for his entire life. But in the end, didn't he also fail on the verge of success? It's a pity that when Yi Jian's cultivation reached the final stage, Huang Tong actually sensed my aura. That's why he resolutely left Yi Jian and hurriedly returned. Hiss. Thinking up to here, Xiao Hua's figure suddenly stopped, and his face once again revealed a look of understanding. A feeling of understanding arose in his heart, and he secretly cried out in his heart, "This Xiao understands now." The void where the phoenix celestial body fell that day was nothing. If I wait until my cultivation deepens, I can naturally retrieve the phoenix celestial body from the void. But that was only a few hundred years before the Star Moon Palace appeared. Time was nothing in front of the Star Moon Palace. It was also because the Star Moon Palace had to pass through the realm where the 4 great continents were located that a space storm or a time storm was created in the void. The Phoenix Celestial Body and Feng Buping's remnant soul coincidentally fell into it and were dragged into a different realm. This created Yi Jian and Jiang Haochen. This realm doesn't seem to be in the celestial realm that Fairy Xing you mentioned? Why is even the law of time different? You're tuning in to the Wisdom Diary YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.